We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey, see, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us, we them nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but we them nothing but Niners.
Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is here. You see my man Nick over there. You see my man Breezy right there. And you see my man Tony right here. We all in the building. We can't wait to bring you guys this long-awaited show. This show has been 48 hours of anticipation. Y'all was expecting to see yesterday. We did a little okie doke on you, and now you're here to watch us live and direct, man. Guys, we got to go through the formalities still nonetheless, so make sure you guys are hitting that like and subscribe button. Make sure you guys have your notifications turned on so you know exactly when we are going live. You're not going to want to miss anything, okay? Make sure you guys are tuning into every single show. Just because we don't announce a guest don't mean there won't be a guest. Wayne did another little okie doke on us and had DJ Reed on the last. You guys are going to want to make sure you are tuning into every single show. You don't know what you're going to miss, okay? Also, guys, hit up the website. It is www.nothingbutniners.com, your one-stop shop for most and everything 49ers from us here at Nothing But Niners. You're going to see your articles, the blogs, the videos. You're going to see our About You page, the page dedicated to you fans. If you guys want to send us your pictures and your game day attire, some of your favorite stuff, man, that's what you're going to do. You got to email it to us, okay? NB9ERS@nothingbutniners.com. Send us your pictures. You got questions, comments, concerns, suggestions for the shows. Anything like that, a guest you want us to try to reach out to, send us an email, okay? NB9ERS@nothingbutniners.com. Guys, hit us up on our social media platforms. We have Twitter and Snapchat. Those handles are Nothing But 9ERS. That is the number 9, Nothing But 9ERS. We have Facebook and Instagram as well. That is Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out. And last, but certainly not least, your spot for the apparel from us here, the exclusive information and apparel from us here at Nothing But Niners. It is NB9ERS. That's it right there, guys. Shop NB9ers.com. Shop NB9ERS.com. All right. And that's going to do it for all the formalities. Again, I'm your guy, 49ers Mike _NFL. The guy to this side of me right here is Tony. He is NJ Niner fan, 499 on Twitter. The guy up here is Nick, 49er faithful, 365 all day, every day. And my man right here, this is my man Breezy, 49er Breezy. That's BREEZIE, not BREEZY. Make sure you put that IE in there. Fellas, what's going on, man? How y'all doing?
What's good? What's good?
Great, man.
Rock, man. Got some wide receiver talk tonight.
Yeah, man, it's my favorite position because I was too big to play wide receiver, but I like how fast they move, so I can't wait to talk about these guys.
Okay. All right, Tony, man. The silent assassin down there in the corner. What's up, big dog?
What's up, man? What's going on, fellas? Mike, Nick, Wayne. Ready to talk some wide receivers, some interesting topics to touch on this group of guys, and we're going to touch on something special later. So make sure you stay around to the end.
Abso-freaking-lutely, man. We're going to get into this wide receiver position. You guys remember the show that we brought to you guys last time with the cornerbacks, and we talked about which guys are sticking around, what we expected them to contribute to the show. That's what you're going to get tonight from this from the Nothing But Niners crew concerning this wide receiver position. We're going to break all that down. And at the end of the show, we're going to have your top 5 favorite wide receivers. So you guys make sure you get those ready, okay? Your top 5 49ers receivers of all time. I mean, we're going to get some Fugazi, a little bit of, does this guy count? Doesn't he count? But we're going to try to break all that down for you. Make sure you guys are staying in for the entire duration of the show. All right. So, guys, let's get right to it, man. I don't want to belabor in the moment. I'm excited. I'm having fun. And I want to go on mute so I can light my cigar, man. What's up?
And so we don't echo. So we good. But look, what's good, man? Look. We're going to get into this. As you guys see here, man, who are your top 5 wide receivers from the 49ers? Get them ready for the end of the show. At the end of the show, share them with us as well. We're not going to tell you any spoilers, so you got to stick around to hear what we got to say. So, I don't know. Let's kick this shit off, Wayne.
All right, man. Like, this is how I want to do it. All right, so we're going to go I'm gonna put the receiver up here. We're gonna talk about their numbers, and I'll break down their stats, and let's talk about what we think their role is gonna be. Everybody will get to state what they feel like their role is gonna be going forward. All right. So let's start off with this guy. All right, man. We got Ritchie James Jr. And I'm just looking at his overall offensive grade. It was 62.8. His receiving grade was a 61.7. And his run grade was a 53.8. All right, so we're going to focus on just the receiving stuff. Now, let me ask you this question. I don't see him ranked. Is that because he didn't get enough snaps?
Yes, sir. So with PFF, in order to qualify for any of their rankings, usually it's 150 or more. He clearly didn't get enough snaps as an on-field player. If they had his special team stats up, he might maybe get close enough, but he was just not one of those guys this year.
All right, so this is our guy, man. Let's talk about Ritchie James Jr., man. Now, before you guys get into it, let me just break down what this young man did for us. All right, just from the wide receiver perspective, right? I'm not going to talk about kickoff returns or runs or anything like that, all right? So I'm just going to break off. All right, so he played in 16 games. He had 10 targets, all right? He had 6 receptions for 165 yards. This is the crazy part. He averaged 27.5 yards per reception with one touchdown. 27.5 yards per reception. Now, again, he didn't have that many targets and he didn't have that many receptions. All right, so let's talk about it. Nick, you go first. Tony, then Mike.
Yeah, I mean, Richie James is, obviously he's a fan favorite of mine as well. We had him on the show in, his rookie year. I'm not so big on him in the return game. We've all said this, myself and you have agreed on this. Another thing that we agreed on. Wow. But something that I agree with is that, he hasn't had that opportunity, right? Because when he has touched the ball, like you said, he averages 27 yards a catch, right? The one touchdown that he had in Tampa, that was the very first game of the year. Thought that he was going to get more snaps coming this year. And then, nothing, and then the Washington game, he came out again, had a really good game. But the fact of the matter is Richie James has a ton of competition this year coming in with the bring in of Travis Benjamin, who we'll talk about, but with his ability to be able to return kicks as well and punt returns. Trent Taylor, if he comes back healthy, another guy who does special teams returns. And then Brandon Ayuk as well. I'm interested to see if he comes in and plays as well. But this guy, to me, he's at the bottom of the depth chart, possibly even a cut this year. And, we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you're pretty much saying as far as Richie James. He started off in his career, he was a pretty decent returner, and all of a sudden he just, towards the end of the year, he fizzled out. He was get the ball, make a move, and then he would get the first contact and go down. He had one big return versus the Seattle Seahawks. He took it to the house. It was great, phenomenal, great blocking. But as far as a wide receiver, I noticed like a pattern with him. He is what you would call a schemed played wide receiver, where a specific scheme or a specific play has to be called for Richie James to go on the field and run that play. Perfect example, that wheel route out of the slot versus Tampa Bay. That was a scripted play. That wasn't daily lineup, come out, your reps, 50 snaps a game, and you make your read if you're playing a zone on an option route. But that clearly was a schemed route. So with that being said, the Trent Taylor was out. The Jalen Hurd was out. Okay, so let's move to 2020. The Trent Taylor's going to be coming back, hopefully. The Jalen Hurd's coming back. Now we added Travis Benjamin. We added Ayuk. We added Jajuan Jennings. We added more pieces to the puzzle, and not to mention Chris Fink, the undrafted free agent from Notre Dame, who we gave $95,000 guaranteed. So that says something. So this team is bringing in, not to mention he's a punt returner as well. Okay, so they're adding pieces for competition. I agree with it 100%. But unfortunately, I like Richie James. I like what he has to offer, but he's got to step his game up this year, because if he doesn't, he might not be on that roster going forward. I hope he does, because he is talented when he makes those scheme plays, but he's got to step up, man.
Agreed. Mike?
Yeah, when it all comes down to it, I'm not going to beat around the bush, man. I don't see this guy making the roster. And I like Richie James. You all know that I've been a fan of him. I want to see him with the ball in his hands. But the truth of the matter is this: when it comes down to potential, who would you guys say has more potential? Richie James? Don't answer the question. Richie James or Dante Pettis? To me, it's Dante Pettis, right? Then you want to see Richie James in the return game. It's not doing anything spectacular or phenomenal. I love the young man. I really, really want the best for him. I just don't see it happening this year with the receivers that we have on the roster. You're still hoping for Dante Pettis. You're still hoping for Trent Taylor, Jalen Hurd, Deebo Samuel, and then Brandon Ayuk. Where is he coming in here? What is he going to be providing to the team? So I just don't see it. I think he is the longest of long shots on this roster. I don't know if that's why you started that way, but I just don't see him being that guy. So I like him. He's a lot of fun to watch when he has a ball in his hands, but Tony was mentioning it, Nick was mentioning it. It's very, very specific and design plays for him. Just seems like there's something he's not grasping. And this is his fourth year now going into the system, his third year in the system. Come on, man. That's it is what it is. The writing's on the wall, in my opinion. So I won't keep beating the dead horse. So I'll pass it back off to Breezy.
All right, so really quick, guys, I'm going to go back around the table. And I think I got Mike's answer, but yes or no, with everyone coming back, supposedly coming back with the new additions that we have to the team, does Richie James make this squad? Yes or no? Starting with Tony, Nick, Tony, and then I already got Mike's answer.
Well, I couldn't hear what you said. My bad.
Sorry. So we're going to go around the board. Yes or no? Does Richie James make this squad with all the guys that are supposed to return and the newer additions that we added to the team at the wide receiver position?
I'm going to say no, but it also depends on – I think it depends a lot on Trent Taylor's status of what happens with Trent Taylor, only because of the return game. So, but I'm going to say no.
Okay. Tony?
I just want to make a little thing before we continue with this, because we're going to do this for all the receivers, I'm assuming. We're going to assume that everybody is back healthy when we're answering these questions, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So I want to make sure we're clear. Okay.
So assuming everyone's healthy, I think it's going to come down to training camp and who rises to the occasion and performs and beats expectations. That's what I think it's going to come down to. And if Richie James does not step up to the challenge, he's not going to be on this roster. Because we added a ton of pieces, man, and there's pieces coming back that were on this roster last year. So I honestly, I want him on this roster because he is talented, but I don't think that he's going to be on that final 55. Sorry,
55. Yeah, you know it's very tough, Mike. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else because I know you stated your biz, but listen. We root for all the guys that are on the team. Let's not get it twisted. Like, we wish them all the best. We want them to play. But Richie, he has to bring something, a new dynamic to the team, because they went out and got some guys that have dynamics that he provides as well. So if he doesn't bring a new dynamic, if he's struggling learning something, it may be tough for him to make this roster in 2020. So good job, guys. All right, let's go to our next guy, right? So we're going to go to the next guy.
Mike had something else.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
My apologies. I do want to point out, like, it's not like he hasn't done anything good, right? I don't know if we win that game against Seattle if it weren't for his kick return. And I'm not talking about this past season in Seattle. I'm talking about the year before with Nick Mullins. The Niners were on their way to getting routed. I think it was 10-0, and then out of nowhere, boom, he has a kick return for a touchdown, making it a 10-7 game, right? The Niners are right back in it. That got the momentum moving in our favor. And I told you guys, I said, if you guys watch, I was like, I think he's going to be rewarded for his works, you know what I mean? And what happened? They ended up calling a trick play for him at the in the goal line situation. He didn't get in the end zone, but it was like, all right, thank you for what you did for us. That was this year or last year? What year did he have the kick return against Seattle?
Last
2
year.
years ago.
Yeah, not this past season, but the season
right,
before.
the year before.
Yeah.
Right. So and so they kind of rewarded him for, here you go. We're going to try to draw up something for you. Remember the direct snap in the goal line situation? He didn't get in and all. Like, that was Shanahan's way of saying thank you for, what you did for helping us get back in there. But we don't see enough of that. We don't see enough of the favors being called for Richie James. So I don't see it. If it's not the return game, he's got little to hang his hat on. So
all right, let's go to the new addition acquired piece that they brought in. All right, so they signed this guy Travis Benjamin. All right, you can see his grades. Offensive grade 46.4, receiving grade 47.2. Now, mind you, here's the stats. He only played in 5 games in 2019. He had 16 targets for 30 yards, 5 yards per reception, 0 TDs, he was out due to injury. But the 49ers decided to bring him in. And the moment they signed this kid, Travis Benjamin, the moment we started saying, oh, there goes Richie James, right? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that's when we kind of started to kind of like say, oh, snap, this might be the end of Richie James. So let's talk about it. Let's go backwards. Let's start with Mike, and then we'll end with Nick.
All right. So I'm gonna start this with the opposite direction of what we've been doing, instead by saying I don't think he's gonna make the roster either. It's not that I don't like the guy, but he's Jason Verret on the offensive side of the ball. He's shown flashes of what he could be. I understand, people want to make him be somebody on this team that he's not, but it's a 1-year deal for a reason. I think the team is just filling up that 90-man roster, and we've talked about when you fill this roster, getting guys who you don't have to teach the system to, or guys that you don't have to spend as much time training up, especially if you don't think they're going to make the team. You get him in here, you tell him what his assignment is, and you walk away from him. And that's the kind of veteran that he is. If he makes the team, it'll be a pleasant surprise, but I'm not holding my breath on that. Return man or not, I just don't think he's the guy.
See, I think a little bit different about this guy. This guy was handpicked by Kyle. He played with Kyle in Cleveland. He was teammates with Miles Austin. He knows this system. Now, we moved on from Marquise Goodwin, and I know we traded up to 25 and took Brandon Ayuk. But this guy, you want to talk about speed, he's fast. And if you decide to move on from a Richie James, I think this guy could play that role of the speed demon to take the top off of a defense. And he's more of a veteran. But it's not a knock against Richie James, but I think if Kyle has to make a decision, if that front office have to make a decision, I think they're going to lean towards Benjamin. But the question is he going to be on the field? Your best availability is being available. So are you going to be able to suit up on Sundays and contribute to this team, special teams, offensive packages, and be that speed demon to come off, to take that top off? If it comes down to the two of them, I think he has the edge over James because he offers more as a wide receiver. And, they love those guys that can do both, not just strictly a return guy and not just strictly a wide receiver. So I think health is the number one question. I think because – and that's a negative. I think because he knows this system so damn well and these guys played together, Miles Austin and Kyle – Dante Whitner was on KMER saying that Kyle loved him when he was in Cleveland. And it's funny that they took him over who's the guy that the Chicago Bears cut?
Taylor Gabriel.
Him. He took him over Taylor Gabriel.
Yeah.
So I think they made this move for a reason. They knew they were moving on from Goodwin, and this guy was going to be that piece. Now, health has to be a huge part of this. If he's healthy, he makes this roster, I think. I really do, because that's the element that they lost by moving on from Goodwin.
Speed. Gotcha. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that Tony said. There's a lot that Mike said that I agree with, and then there's some things that I don't agree with. And most of all that I agree with is what Tony's saying is, this guy is a hand-picked guy, right? And it definitely determines or depends on if he's healthy, right? But I think the biggest factor of bringing him in is you lose Marquise Goodwin and you lose Emmanuel Sanders, who were your vets. And Travis Benjamin is the only vet that they have on this team right now, like true vet. He knows the system. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan's system has evolved compared to what it was in Cleveland days. But the concept is all the same, right? Obviously, it's not the same plays and things like that, but the communication and the way the plays are called or whatever are pretty much the same, you would think. I think that he is, as much as I want to say that he doesn't, I really think that he is somebody that they keep. Tony touched on it too. He's one of the speedier guys, right? He's one of those guys that can do punt returns and kick returns. He hasn't done them in a few years, but it could be a change of scenery for him and something that he does. I think he's one of the 7, and that's what I'm just going to keep it at. For vet preference, vet presence, and also ability to know the playbook and his speed, his top end speed, as well as his ability to do kickoff and kick returns or punt returns. Sorry.
All right. Recap real quick. Are we taking tally? Because I'm not going to vote, but you guys can do the voting. I'll just keep doing the hosting. Mike said no for. We all said no for Richie James. We got 2 yeses and 1 no for Travis Benjamin. I mean, you guys said some key things, man. Mike, I'm with you. I do understand. Like I he just has to be healthy. And he hasn't had a good health streak going. But I will say this though, we have seen Kyle bring in guys to this team, healthy or not. If they contribute with a key factor like Tony was talking about, if speed is a key factor, they'll find a way to utilize him until he gets healthy. Because the question will be, would Travis Benjamin have made that catch? Like, would he been able to catch up to that ball and catch that thrown pass thrown by Jimmy Garoppolo that Emmanuel Sanders couldn't catch? Or would have Marquise Goodwin made that catch? Because we always say the speed, if they were just a little bit faster, they might have been able to get under that ball, even though it looked like it was 3 yards thrown over Sanders' head. So that's a question. That's a factor. That's a good question to ask.
You know, another way to look at Travis Benjamin here is like Jordan Matthews.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that, that were brought in, released and then brought back, released and brought back. Just one of those guys that kind of fill that role, as in if they need him, he's there. If they want to utilize him, he's there, in whatever means it may be. But I think that's kind of like the role that he'll probably take, to be honest with you.
As far as veteran, right?
This guy has missed 27 games in his career. He's not making the roster. he's not making the roster, man.
Bro, we said the same thing about Verret. He missed these amount of games, and he's not making a roster, and he's on the roster. So he's obviously there for a reason.
He was an asterisk on the roster, and they don't like this guy as much as they like Verret. They don't.
I don't know, man. Kyle went out and got him, though, Mike.
Mike, let me ask you something. If injuries weren't an issue, do you think he makes this roster?
I still don't think he makes the roster if injuries are not an issue, because I think there's a strong youth movement going on here. Correct. I think there's a really strong youth movement going on, and there's no role for him on this roster. If the 6 that I think now, see, here's the difference. I know we haven't got down to the final numbers. I only got 6 guys making it. You guys might have 7, and so if there's 7, then there's wiggle room here for this last roster spot, right? But if the 6 that I think make this roster are there, there's no room for him here. He's not going to bring anything valuable enough to the table. You guys keep talking about his speed and replacing Goodwin, and nothing changes about our complaint about Jimmy and the Goodwin connection. Jimmy isn't that guy. He's not. He's still not that. I don't care if it's Goodwin or if it's Travis Benjamin doing it. Jimmy's still not that guy.
He's not the deep throw guy.
So what's his purpose here? Is it kick return? Because we got other guys that can do it. We'll get to later. So I just don't see what he brings to the table that we already don't have in the building with someone that's going to be under contract for at least 3 or 4 more years.
Okay, that's fair. All right, man. Moving right. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't know if Tony had a rebuttal for that. Because he asked me a question.
No, I do agree with what you're saying. I do, but when we get further into this, you're gonna understand why I'm saying I think he does make it.
All right.
Moving right along. Let's go to the next guy, man. Who's that? Dante Pettis. Now, look, man, he's one of my favorite guys, man. There's something about this kid I like, man. We saw bits and flashes of him in 2018. We saw him regress in 2019, and this will be his 3rd year, right? Going into his 3rd season. So here was his offensive grade. He ranked 106 out of 122 wide receivers. His grade was 56.4, and his receiving grade was 54.5. All right, man. Let's start with Tony this time, and then we'll go Mike and then Nick.
This one's pretty easy. I honestly think if he comes in, because the team went to him in the previous season's offseason and said to him that we want you to put a couple pounds on, we want you to be prepared physically for this season. Obviously, that didn't happen. If he's prepared physically and mentally, he makes this roster. If he's not, I don't think he makes this roster. And you've heard him in trade rumors, packaging him to Green Bay for a corner, Josh Jackson from Iowa that they drafted in the same draft. very talented corner. I think he's in the wrong system in Green Bay. I think he could help us in our secondary and potentially as a future piece going forward due to all the free agents next year. If he comes in fully prepared, the kid is talented. You cannot take it away from him. When he's locked in and he's on his shit, he's talented. He killed Seattle in that game in Seattle. At Minnesota, he made that catch literally on a fingertip in the corner of the end zone from Jimmy. The guy has talent, but the question is he going to be able to put that on the field consistently? That is the big issue here. Now, we added multiple pieces to this roster. It might come down to saying, okay, well, I don't want to lose this guy just to keep him on the roster, and we're not sure if he's 100% locked in and ready to roll. That's why I'm really, really concerned right now, because look what's going on in the world with the COVID. They don't know when the camps are going to start, if they're going to start on time, so you don't know what you're getting in him. You don't know if he's prepared because they haven't been at that headquarters. So I really, this is really tough, but I think if he's really locked in and he's focused and he does what they ask him to do physically and mentally, I think he will make the roster and he will be a big piece in this offense. But if not, he might not be here, whether it's trade or being released. Because one more thing before I stop. Just think about it. They moved up, 14 picks in the second round to get him. That's a black eye if you cut him. That's a bad look, man. So they're going to be on him. And they're going to tell him, this is it, dude. You either step up or get the hell out. We'll move on from you. And the talent is there to move on from him. So we'll see.
All right, Mike.
I'm going to get right to it. Dante Pettis makes the roster. And not only does he make the roster, he impresses a lot of people. He might not have any dog in him. He's not that physical guy. But there are plenty of finesse receivers in the NFL that are successful and effective. And Dante Pettis can show you guys why he's one of those guys. Whether he's catching the ball or dropping it, his footwork is still one of the best I've ever seen on this roster, so he's got that if he can focus and all that. Now, Tony, you said something I want to ask you about this guy. I didn't know this. You said that the team asked him to put on weight last offseason.
Yeah. Not like they asked him to bulk up, to put some like mass on his frame because he is like really on the light side.
Right.
So I'm going to be honest with you. We were all at that Pittsburgh game, right? If he didn't make that, if he didn't come back to the ball on that goal line, we lose that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But earlier in the game, he gave up on a route.
Right.
On like a deep crosser or he was coming across the middle of the field and you just saw him pull up on the route.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, that's going to be the deciding factor. What Dante is going to show up? Is it going to be the one that comes back to the ball to make the play to win the game? Or is it going to be the one that just lollygags across the field and says that, well, okay.
Right. And so this is going to go back to something I mentioned a couple of episodes ago. I talked about Dante Pettis and his mindset, and what this is the weight thing is one thing that I didn't know about, and that's something that plays a bigger role in this. And then the mindset itself, right? I told you guys that the only way Dante Pettis doesn't make this roster is if he retires. If he decides football is not for me. This is an intelligent young man with plenty of other opportunities. He comes from a family that is well off. His father is a former MLB player, coach. His dad is well off. He's taken care of. But the weight thing, and including this with his father, he's not some guy who's just been playing football just to do it, right? His dad, whether it be football coaches or not, is telling him this is your frame, this is your structure, this is how you should be playing, right? Because his dad has an athletic background as well. His dad is aware of optimal size and length and all that stuff to be who you are. Maybe his dad had him playing for finesse and speed, and the Niners want him to bulk up a little bit. Maybe I'm reaching here, right? But maybe the added weight, the pressure to add the weight, he wasn't comfortable playing at this size, Maybe it caused him to lose a little something, some confidence or a step, whatever it is. But because he comes from that athletic, competitive background, right? His sister is married to a guy who plays for the Seahawks, right? So there's trash talk going on at the dinner table during Thanksgiving, right? These are all things that are playing a part in his mind, right? And once he makes a decision, I'm either in or I'm out, it's over. And whichever way he decides to go, he's either going to be in 100% or he's completely out. There's no in between for Dante Pettis this season. And so with that said, I think that he makes up his mind that he wants to be here, because I think we would have heard an announcement about his retirement, much like Joe Staley. After we got his replacement, boom, Joe Staley is gone, right? I think that after we drafted Brandon Ayuk, Dante Pettis would have announced his retirement. I think he's here to stay. He's got that competitive streak in his blood, right? And he's going to come in here and he's going to work the field the way he's supposed to and be that guy to show you guys, like, look, I had a down year. I had a bad season. Doesn't mean that it's over for me. Doesn't mean that you guys got to count me out now. I had some things going on. They're worked out, and I'm here to show you guys my commitment to 49ers football. I think Dante Pettis is going to surprise a lot of people this year. Oh, wait. I think Dante Pettis is going to surprise a lot of cats this year. See what I did there?
That's great.
Cats,
and it's never a question about his talent, because if you watch that game versus Tampa Bay, he broke the ankles of a cornerback. Like, the corner stumbled and went back on his butt. He does that. He does that almost every game, whether the ball's thrown to him or not. That's who he is. Yes, I agree. And I just think if he comes in not focused, like you're saying, 100% in, 100% out, he comes in 100% out, I think they're going to wash their hands with it and take the L.
Yeah, Nick.
I'm so torn with this guy. And that's to be honest with you. Like, I'm torn by him. Like, we see him come in the 1 year. At the end of the season, he starts to tail up. He looks really good. Then he comes back the next year. He doesn't look as good. He makes some plays, and then he disappears. And whether he's disappearing because of himself or whether he's disappearing because of the coaches or whatever have you, I just know there's one thing missing in this, and nobody knows what it is. Whether it's Dante's side, whether it's the coach's sides. You hear Kyle Shanahan talks so up and high about Dante Pettis all the time at the podium. But I just don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to test this guy's character as to if he wants to play football or if he doesn't. But I don't know if he really does. And I don't know if he does or if he doesn't. There's no lie that he has talent, right? He is one of the best route runners on this team. If he was able to, I don't want to say able to, but if he would take more hits and he wouldn't be so gun shy, I know that's a quarterback saying, but what I mean is like catch shy, I should say. He doesn't like going across the middle. You've seen that. Like, he's more of an outside guy, going up, getting the football. Like Tony talked about the Minnesota game, beat his coverage, got to an open spot. The throw was there. He made it, and the catch was there. He doesn't go across the middle very well when he runs. And this is what kind of gets me is it on Kyle Shanahan that he doesn't put him in, because Kyle Shanahan likes to attack the middle of the field. That's where he likes to attack. I'm so torn on this, man. Like, I think I agree with Tony. If he doesn't come in and we don't have a training camp, I think it makes it harder for him to make this football team. If he comes in and he's ready to go, he makes it. So I'm kind of like, this could go either way, right? And I don't agree with the whole we traded up for him and Kyle Shanahan's not going to cut him, because we did the same thing with Joe Williams and he just wasn't working out. We cut him. I don't care. It's not different. It's still a draft guy. It's still.
Yeah, but we didn't trade up for Joe Williams.
Exactly. But sometimes you still have to bite the bullet on things that you messed up on.
Right.
I believe that Kyle Shanahan is that guy now. He's at that point where his team is built. Like, this isn't a rebuilding year, and you keep guys around for so long and keep them. So that's what I'm trying to say is I don't believe in just because we traded up for him, he's gonna have a roster on this spot. He has to perform and get that roster.
So then why is CJ Beathard still here? If it's not because we traded up, why is CJ?
Because
Beathard?
I told you before, CJ Beathard was still here for insurance on Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo was coming back from a knee injury. I don't think we keep 3 quarterbacks this year.
Okay. All right. That's a good response. But I do believe that trading up buys someone an extra season. I do think that. Because if he was just a 1-pick guy, but he cost the team 2 bodies of competition, there's a value in that. To me, there's a value in that.
Right, but Mike, there's also a time to cut that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a time where you say, I can't do this anymore. There's guys that are better and are going to perform, and they make our team better, and you just take your loss.
And I agree with you now, but also so here maybe this is why you're probably so torn, right? And this is for all of us. This isn't just for you, right? I think the reason why people who don't play with you're either trash or you're good mentality are the same way what Nick is expressing. They're right in the middle. I can't quite feel it out, right? You see one season of a lot of potential, and then you see another season of why are you on the roster, right? So the thing is, it becomes, how do you evaluate that? Another year in the system, I at least want to see you stay the same, right? But he seemed to regress a lot. So when you add season 1 and season 2 together, do you come up with a nice medium? Or do you ignore 1 year, whichever one it is? How do you weigh it out? And what do you guys think the team is doing when they evaluate Dante Pettis? Like honestly, like what do you guys think that they're holding last season against him? Do you guys think that they're holding which season do you guys think has more weight? How about that?
I think it obviously has a lot of weight for him not performing last year. And the reason that I say that is because they went out and got a Travis Benjamin. They, in free agency, they went out and got, they drafted 2 receivers, right? In Jajuan Jennings or Jajuan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
Right. So this is saying that there's a chance that Dante Pettis is no longer here. If they had complete faith in him, they may not go that route. But you would, if you're planning on taking 2 guys in the draft, you may not take a Travis Benjamin in free agency, right? Because you want that vet preference, because presence. I keep saying preference or presence. So, what is Travis Benjamin to his team? What is Dante Pettis to his team, right? This is year 3. We traded up for Reuben Foster, and I know it's different because there was off-field issues, but the talent level was there. And they took the chance and said, you know what? We've done everything we can off the field stuff, and they made that choice. And I think that's where it's coming in year 3 for Dante Pettis. It's perform or do what you got to do.
And something else that I don't know if you said it or if I saw it in the comments, but it was a thing about where this is the inside of the field or the middle of the field in between the hashes versus outside, right? Dante Pettis was very effective outside the numbers when Jimmy Garoppolo was not his quarterback. Now it's Jimmy Garoppolo, and a lot of the stuff is doing a lot of this. Maybe Pettis isn't the guy for the team anymore.
Look, the other thing, and I hate to say this to you guys. I hate to say this, right? Because I was so hard on Bourne, right? But we're all talking about Kendrick Bourne, right? Dante Pettis could have been around last year to see where Kendrick Bourne was going. Kendrick Bourne could literally be his replacement. He plays outside, and he'll play in the middle. He literally could be Dante Pettis' replacement for whatever years to come. And Kendrick Bourne does everything better than Dante Pettis when he's playing. Because I don't want to say when he's playing. Right now. So, we don't look at it that way. We just keep thinking we add pieces and it's a Trent Taylor or it's a Jalen Hurd or, it's a replacement for Emmanuel Sanders. Well, they could be replacements for Dante Pettis too. And last year they could have just not let go of Dante Pettis because of injuries. They kept him on the roster. He was inactive, not inactive, but he was on the 53 and active for game days, but he never took any snaps. So he was probably there for injuries because it was an injury-riddled season for receivers. So hence the reason we went and got Emmanuel Sanders. And then on top of that, you keep him around and Kendrick Bourne starts to progress and continue to get better in the system. And now you sign him to a tender. He could literally be Dante Pettis' replacement.
There's one thing I know about Kyle Shanahan, man. I think he's not afraid to bite the bullet, right? And say, I effed up. Time to move on. Number 2, he breeds competition, right? Like he brings in players that's going to compete for spots. Doesn't matter what the position is, right? That's one thing. I mean, he signed a quarterback. We got 3 quarterbacks on the roster. He goes and gets another quarterback, right? So somebody's competing for something, whether it's the backup quarterback, the third string quarterback. I'm with Nick. I think we only bring 2 quarterbacks. When it comes to this wide receiver position, I'm not saying that Dante Pettis doesn't make this squad. I'm not in the guessings, but here's my thing, yo. Mike asked a question, and he asked, which season do you think holds the most weight? And I think you have to go with the season that was the most productive, right? You have to go with the season where he had 467 yards, 5 touchdowns, and try to figure out why was he successful this season and less successful this past season. And then Nick, you said, or Mike said, oh, could have been that it was the quarterback when he had Nick Mullins throwing outside the hashes and all that type of stuff where he excelled? Or was it the fact that Jimmy G was instructed to throw inside? That's his strength. That's where you need to be. Run those cross routes, get open, blah, blah, blah. So Mike said maybe he's just not a good fit. And that's where Nick is saying, and Tony's saying, hey, there's a possible reason he doesn't make the team if he can't get with the fit of the program. So with that being said, we're going to talk about, okay, Nick.
I got one question to ask you on based off that, right?
Okay.
Is what does Kyle Shanahan like in his wide receivers?
Catch the ball and yak.
Separation.
No. Look, he likes separation. He likes guys who can play all 3 positions and will do all 3 positions completely the same, and guys that can and do outside the numbers.
Correct.
Pettis is literally all of those things.
He's not a middle guy. He doesn't play the slot.
Pettis has made plenty of catches across the middle. He's made plenty of catches across the middle. Last year, no, he didn't catch much of anything last year.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, what was it last year that he didn't touch the field with so many injuries as wide receivers?
It could have just been the difference.
We can't blame it on the quarterback.
It could have been the difference in the quarterback. It could have just been the difference. I'm not saying it's Jimmy G's fault, but it could have been the fact that
but that's what I'm saying. Mike is saying that when Nick Mullins, he excelled on the outside. When Jimmy Garoppolo was in there, it was all of a sudden Jimmy Garoppolo's fault that Dante Pettis wasn't catching the footballs because it wasn't going to the outside. So you said he excelled when Nick Mullins was playing because of outside numbers.
I think it has to do with every quarterback has a security blanket. I think Nick Mullins was Pettis. I think Jimmy's was Kendrick Bourne, as from a wide receiver standpoint. It could be Kittle too, but it's kind of like if they're not on the same page, the quarterback's not going to feel comfortable to look for him or go to him or throw him open because he won't know. He doesn't know if he's 100% going to run that route the right way. So if he does throw him open, if he's going to be there or not. So I think it's more – it's not only tied to him not going over the middle. I think it's tied to Jimmy not feeling comfortable or not comfortable or being on the same page as Dante, where he was comfortable and was on the same page with Kendrick Bourne, George Kittle. Dude, he'd had no reps with Emmanuel Sanders. None. 0. And when Emmanuel Sanders played versus Carolina, he was throwing Emmanuel Sanders open. He wasn't throwing it at him. He was throwing it at where he wanted him to be, and Emmanuel Sanders was there. So I think they need to get on the same page and get some continuity going on. And I think if that happens, I think that they will build not maybe a relationship, but a rapport between the two of them.
Yeah. No, I can agree to that. I definitely can agree to that. All right, man. Before we move on to the other wide receivers.
So I didn't hear what Tony said. Are we? I know you said we are or we're not. You said there's chance of both. So what are you going with so I can keep track of that? Yes, he makes the team or no, he doesn't?
I didn't get yours either, Nick.
I think he's going to stay on the roster. He's too talented of a player to move on for him for nothing. Just to cut him. If they get a trade, that could be a different story. But just to cut him outright, he's too talented.
Mike is yes, Tony's yes, and Nick, you were.
I'm gonna say he's traded.
All right, so since you said that, and it's funny you said that, I have a trade scenario, and I know it's probably never going to happen, but what if the 49ers are able to trade him to the Colts, give them another receiver, and we get Malik Hooker? who just did not sign. They didn't extend, give him his fifth year option as well. So he'll be moving on. What do you guys think about that trade? I don't know what else you can add in there to make it work. We probably have to give something else, whatever like that.
It could make sense if that scenario does happen. That means Jimmy Ward's flipping a strong safety if they decide not to re-sign Tart. And now you have a free safety. But I don't know why the Colts are moving on from him. I mean, maybe because of injuries. I don't. Other than injuries, I mean, this kid was talented. This is someone that I wanted when he came out in the draft because if you look at him, he's your prototypical single high safety. The guy covers ground like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, I mean, listen, maybe he wasn't a scheme fit in Indianapolis. Maybe he's a better fit here. Same thing with Josh Jackson from Green Bay. They have him in a man system. He's a zone corner.
Ball hawk. That's all I'm going to say. And it's possible. I just wanted to throw that out because Nick threw the caveat of him possibly being traded. And I'm saying, well, why not? Why not improve our secondary? We're big on defense. We like our defense to be better. It's the guy that could come in and it could be, I know we signed safeties and, unrestricted, whatever. I know we did all that, but this will be definitely a game changer. All right. Before we move on, just want to bring this back out here. All right. Number one, let's go ahead. Let's talk about you guys at the end of the show. Not right now, but at the end of the show, we want to know who your top 5 49er wide receivers are. Just a quick caveat about this. They have had to play for the 49ers and had production with the 49ers. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go in depth or in detail about that. They had to have some type of production with the 49ers. If they were a 49er, they could be in your top 5. All right, so let's get back to the show. Make sure you guys are hitting that like and subscribe button too, man. I don't think I see any likes, but I see some eyes. So I want to see the thumbs up, guys. Come on, man. All right, so let's get back into our show. All right, so far we've capped off Ritchie James Jr., right? We've capped off Travis Benjamin. We've capped off Dante Pettis. And let's keep this moving because Nick threw the perfect segue into my man, Kendrick Bourne, the man with the swag. All right, let's start with Nick first, Mike second. Tony, you could bring it home.
I mean, this is an easy one for me, and I'm not usually easy with Kendrick Bourne, but he's proven that he belongs on this team. So he's working his ass off this year. I think he's going to come out ready to eat. He wants that contract. I think he actually takes a step up in the offense this year compared to what he was last year. So I'm going to stick with him. And with me saying that the Niners are trading Dante Pettis, I think Kendrick Bourne is his replacement to do what he can do. And I'm saying, yes, he makes the team. Plain and simple.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes, too. But can we get that graphic back up here? This is why I hate PFF. This is why I hate PFF is supposed to be it's not about stats, right? It's about efficiency, how good you are at your job. Okay. Tell me one receiver in the entire NFL more efficient than Kendrick Bourne. And they got him ranked 56? The guy's a willing blocker. His receiving grade is 49th. What more could this mother effer do to get a higher rating than 49 other than be a 1,000-yard receiver? Can
I throw some interesting stats out?
Please do.
He played in 16 games, and then help me out with my math because I might be a little bit slow.
I got the calculator ready, bro.
He had 44 targets, okay? This should be easy subtraction, right? He had 30 receptions. How many passes did he drop, bro?
Bro, he caught 68% of his passes. He caught 68% of his passes, bro.
Wait a minute, I'm not finished. 358 yards. Okay, so he's not your number one wide receiver, right? He's not the one that's going to be the guy to get the 1,000-yard season, all right? 11.9 yards. That's a first down per catch.
Every reception.
All right, here's the killer. 5 TDs.
5 TDs. 5 TDs, bro. And we're not even going to talk about the first downs that he got. All he does is produce. All he does is keep his field on the team. And if he's causing his team to get off the field, it's because the boy touched pay dirt.
Hey, what Nick, else? Guess who had 5 TDs last season?
Pettis?
Yeah. So Nick, I love Nick, yo. Guys, I love my brother, man. Nick, yo. But listen, Nick said this might be his replacement, right? He said this might be the Pettis guy. Look, Nick, you might have just woke up, but you on to something. Yo, go ahead, man. Keep talking about this kid, man.
I'm just saying, man. And I'm going to be like Nick here. I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I'm just saying this is why I say PFF is BS, man, because we got to trust our own eyes. I can't tell you another efficient receiver such as Kendrick Bourne. I can't. The only knock on Kendrick Bourne is yards after catch. It's yards after catch. That's it. They say, hey, man, we got 7 yards to the first down. He runs a 9-yard route, turns around so Jimmy can put it right there on him. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? He's not breaking tackles and taking off down the field. That's the only thing this guy doesn't do. But there is nobody more efficient than Kendrick Bourne. Hell yeah, he makes the roster, man.
I think the only thing that he can get better in is the easier catches, because this mother makes some hard ass catches,
fingertip,
and then just drop some easy ones. But he worked on that. He got a lot better, and I think he's going to be a lot better this year with holding on to the football. I think he dropped like 3 passes last year.
Yo, before Tony answers, this dude is catching tennis balls off of big ass bouncy balls, yo.
Yo, 3 of them at a time. Pat.
And I'm just like, okay, I tried that. I tried it, and it don't work that way. Like, it's not that. That's reaction time. You talking about him trying to catch these easy passes? All right, Tony, what you got for me, brother?
I think he makes it. I think he's actually going to be the starting receiver opposite of Debo this year coming into the season. But I will tell you this: I did hear a rumor that that the team received phone calls on him.
Ooh.
And if that number 2 tender was not put on him,
he was gone.
I think he was gone. But
how smart is Shanahan? Godly.
I will say this. Because of the abundance of talent that we have on this roster right now at the wide receiver core, we added Jennings, we added Ayuk, we got Hurd coming back, Taylor coming back. We have a lot of players on this roster. If all those players step up, I'm not saying I want this to happen. I think Kendrick Bourne is going to really flourish this year. He's going to be given the opportunity to take the number 2 spot. But I wouldn't be surprised if a team calls him up and tries to blow him away with an offer to get him out of there and get them on their team. But this exercise is asking him if he's making it. Yes, he's making it.
Mike?
I threw some shade their way in Daniel Connor. PFF is partly owned by Chris Collinsworth. That's why I take their grades with a grain of salt. And I went to Google right away. And the first thing that pops up when you type in Chris Collinsworth PFF is the little Wikipedia site. Chris Collinsworth really liked using PFF, so he bought it. That tells me everything I need to know about this site. Man, Daniel, salute to you, man. That is the message of the day in here, man. Let's go. I'm done. All right, I'm gonna shut up.
We need to create a message of the day too, man, so we can highlight that, man. Put that on our wall.
I do think Kendrick Bourne, I agree with you, Tony. I do think Kendrick Bourne starts the season opposite of Debo, right? And I think that's until Brandon Ayuk or anybody else gets going, to be honest with you. And then I think depending on how they come into the season, it has that chance of flip-flopping.
I think you're going to see, well, I'll get into it more when we get to Ayuk, but it's going to be the same scenario as Debo Samuels with Ayuk. He's going to need that time to adjust, especially with no mini camps.
Right,
and
exactly.
Rookie camps and OTAs. He's going to need that time.
Well, I'm just going to say Kendrick Bourne is starting opposite whoever is on that field, whether it's Ayuk or Debo. Like, he's going to be on that field, bro. No, Mike? No?
Nah. All right. Let's just let me just do this now. He's not going to get the start. He might be wide receiver 3 for sure, but if we don't come out in a 3 wide receiver set, he's not going to be out there opposite of Samuel and Ayuk. Ayuk is going to be. Go ahead, Tony.
He was out there with Debo Samuels numerous times last year.
Absolutely, but he's not going to take the spot.
1 and 2.
Right, he's not going to take the spot of the guy you traded up for in the first round because, like you said, without the preseason and all that, they're going to do exactly what they did for other guys and simplify the playbook. Mm-hmm. Quick route, go and be effective because Ayuk doesn't need to have intricate plays. He's a yak guy. And so they're just going to get the ball in his hands quickly. They're going to put your first round guy. It's so different when you draft a guy in the first round than just a guy that you liked. It's so different, in my opinion. When you move up to get a guy in the first round, you want him out there because you think he's special. You're putting that guy on the field immediately, and we'll work on your flaws in practice. You're getting out there, though, right now. That's my opinion. That's my hot take there.
You got to remember, though, they liked Deebo Samuel a lot last year, and Deebo didn't start getting plays until late in the season. So they really didn't start utilizing him until later in the season. And I think that's what Tony's trying to say, especially with no camp, no learning the book, no learning. They're learning virtually. They're not seeing these guys hand in hand and watching them play. They're teaching over video conference.
If this was a more simplified offense, I would agree 150% what you're saying, Mike. But this offense is very complicated. It's not like your normal, and I understand they traded up to secure him 100%. I agree with you. But they also traded up for Dante Pettis, and he was not thrown in. I understand it was only the second round, but he was like 4 or 5 picks from the first round.
Dante Pettis wasn't a starter year one?
No. He didn't come right off. No, he didn't come right out.
Oh, my God. Dante Pettis started at least 8 games year one, bro. At least 8 games year one.
Bro,
yeah, but what I'm saying is that
you're not listening to what he's saying.
I understand what you're
about. Week one, let's say they travel east to play the Giants. Week one, I don't think it's going to be Ayuk physically coming out as the number ones. Do I think you will see Ayuk mixed in and rotated in? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to get this kid acclimated to the speed of the NFL. They got to get him up to date with that offense. It's a very complicated offense, Mike. You don't understand the terminology of this offense. The plays aren't twins right 33 blast, twins right, Z post. It's like 10 words, and that's your offense.
Tony, I understand that. Okay, let's break this down. We got nothing but time. If you guys are in a rush, let me know and I'll shut up. But we got some time here, right?
Shut up. No, I'm joking.
Why was Brandon Ayuk a first-round pick and not a second-round pick? We had 31. Why was he a first-round pick instead of a second-round pick?
Because Green Bay wanted him, and the Niners were afraid they were going to take him, and they moved up to take him, so they didn't lose their guy.
No, that's why we traded up to get him. But why was he a first-round pick?
He was taken because of his skill set. His skill set, run after the catch, create separation, the ability to run deep. He has a speed. He tested poorly because he's coming off a core injury, but he's truly instead of a 4.5 guy, he's more of a 4.4, possibly low 4.4, reaching the top of a 4.3. I heard, and that is why you go up and attack somebody that you feel you could project to your system.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So you said a couple of things here. First, as far as a player you described, Dante Pettis his rookie year. I'm just saying all the attributes, the route running, the hands, the running a catch across the middle, all that, Dante Pettis. Now, why did the Niners decide to get him in the first round? We all knew from the moment we saw Kyle looking at Deebo in the Senior Bowl, that was Kyle's guy. He wasn't a first round pick though.
100%. I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing. There's a drop off. We talked about this in our pre-draft shows. There's drop offs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then there's the next one. 1, 2. Then boom, there's a drop. He saw his guy, and he went and got. He had an opportunity to take a Judy, a Lamb, but he said, "No, this guy is a better scheme fit."
Okay, and that's my point. There's something about this guy that Kyle wants to see immediately. If he was somebody that thought was going to take time to develop, he wouldn't have been a first-round pick. You're proof that everything that you're saying is bringing it in for me. Because if he's a developmental guy, he's a second.
No. Like, you got to remember, we didn't have a second, third, or fourth-round pick.
It doesn't matter. We had 31. We could have traded back
but that's what I'm saying. There was reports that the Packers were going up to get him. That's why the Niners moved up. They
thought that he was worthy of picking that high. You're looking at where we picked him, right? And I'm talking about why they felt he was worth it. That's two different conversations.
Because he becomes worth it because you don't have any second, third, or fourth round picks. So he becomes worth it to get there.
Wrong. He was going to go before 25 because the Packers were there. He was rated that high. He wasn't going to be available at 31. We had 31. We didn't have to trade up to get him. We traded up to get him because they see a value in him. And when you get to first round values that you're trading up to snatch, It's not because you want to develop this guy. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. I understand, Nick, I swear to God, I understand exactly what you're saying. He wasn't going to be there at 31, no matter how you look at it. And
Okay, so you go up and get him.
They knew that based off of his evaluation. They knew that he was not going to be available at 31 because he's that good. You don't wait for that guy to develop. He put him in there right away. Go ahead, Tony. I see you.
I'm not questioning if he's good or not. There's a learning curve in this offense, Mike. Deebo Samuel is the best. Hold on. This Deebo Samuel was the best wide receiver on that team last year from week 10 on. There's a reason, because from 1 to 10, that was the learning curve that he needed to get comfortable with this offense. And I'm not saying he's not going to see the field. I'm not saying that at all. You saw Deebo Samuel on the field. The first 6 games, what was Kyle doing? He was trying to find that pair. Dante Pettis, Kendrick Bourne. Deebo Samuel, Kendrick Bourne. Deebo Samuel, Dante Pettis. They just kept flipping and trying to find those two that could work together. They couldn't do it. They added Emmanuel Sanders. He brought that swag and veteran leadership to that group. And then what do you know? Who flashes on the scene? Deebo Samuel. This is the type of projection that I'm saying for Ayuk.
Okay. Now, I hear what you're saying.
It has nothing to do with skill set.
Okay, so let's talk about that then, right? Okay. We're here. And like I said, when you guys are ready to move on, just say, Mike, shut up. Let's keep it moving, okay? Now, skill set, you said, has nothing to do with it, right? Correct. You're in the NFL. You're probably a talented guy at something. Okay, 100%. Right? Deebo Samuel, very talented guy, not worthy of a first-round pick, okay? Now, let me ask you guys this question. If there's this guy that's really, really good, okay, just like a bunch of other guys, what makes him worthy of a first-round pick? Don't you guys think that intelligence plays a part in your evaluation of a guy?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you can say I don't know if Deebo Samuel wasn't worthy of a first round pick. I think what we needed in the first round, we had to pick, right? And if we had another pick in the first round, you don't think they would have took Deebo Samuel?
We were loaded that draft. We could have traded up to make sure we got him sooner. We didn't have to.
Were we loaded in that draft?
You get what I'm saying?
We drafted Nick Bosa in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got Bosa in the first round. We got Deebo in the second. You didn't have to trade up because he was there in the second.
Right. But that means that they were willing to take a gamble that he was going to be there and let him fall to him. They weren't willing to take that gamble for this guy.
Because I don't think anybody else.
We picked second in the second round. Like, it's damn near a first round pick.
But it's not. It's not, bro.
It's not. You're absolutely right.
No, I understand it's not. But you don't have to wait.
Plus,
like, if we didn't have 13 this year, our draft is totally different.
Correct. Because we definitely not.
So last year we pick at 2, we take Nick Bosa.
And then we pick the second.
Then we go receiver 2. The first receiver, he was what? The second receiver off the board?
Hey, let me ask you this question. If we didn't have 13, Kinlaw's gone. Do you guys think Shanahan stays pat and still tries to get Ayuk, or you think he wants Ayuk and trades up? Because if 13 ain't there, there is no Kinlaw, right? So we can agree there, right? 14. So now what's the move?
It depends on who else falls off the board.
Was there another DT worth that first round pick?
No. Well,
okay.
Derek Brown, but he was gone. So,
that's my point. So now, was there a corner worth that first round pick?
There's a whole bunch of players that's worth that first round pick. But
there wasn't a corner worth that first round pick to this team based off of their evaluation.
I'm just talking about in general. But I'm saying when you think of Brandon Ayuk, I guarantee you, if no one else wanted him, if there was not a report saying that, oh, we're gonna try to get this guy, I didn't hear that stuff about Deebo. This is probably what made them satisfied to say, yo, I could get him in the second round since I'm drafted early, right? I'm not saying Deebo wasn't worth the first round pick. I'm just saying we had the luxury of drafting very early in the second round. There was a whole bunch of wide receivers that we thought were going to go in the first round that didn't go in the first round, right?
Kyle Shanahan said that he was willing to take Ayuk at 13. Come on, man. Y'all got to stop downplaying this young man. It's like Tony said, it's less about talent. There's other things that go into it. If you're willing to take this guy that high,
you could believe that if you want to, yo. Because he thought about. They also talked about CeeDee Lamb was their number 1 wide receiver, but they decided to go with the defense.
They never said that. They never said that.
I heard Lynch said that.
They said that it was CeeDee Lamb and Ayuk. Those were their top guys. Like, it was 1A, 1B. Okay. They never said that this guy was better than that guy.
I didn't say about a guy being better than a guy. I said a guy being there that they would have took. Like, if you saying 1A, that's number one. 1B, that's number one. They both number ones. So they decided not to go with the Lamb guy because the value at the defensive tackle position was more important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being, they had an extra pick. They were going to draft at 31. They decided to say, oh, snap. Yo, this is the guy we want. Let me go ahead and go grab this guy because I hear Green Bay want him. So they were kind of pushed to go get him.
Was Lamb on the board when we picked Ayuk?
Yes.
I rest my case.
No.
Not when we picked Ayuk. When we picked Kinlaw.
Ruggs was the only wide receiver gone.
No. CD Lamb and all them came off the board.
I'm sorry. Lamb was on the board when we drafted Kinlaw, not Ayuk.
Not when we drafted Ayuk.
Yes. Right. That's
my point. That's what my point. I'm sorry, I misspoke. My point was Shanahan said he was willing to draft Ayuk where Kinlaw was if Kinlaw wasn't there. That's my point. They passed on Lamb because they knew that they could still get Ayuk. Correct, and they said if he wasn't there, Kinlaw, they would have drafted Ayuk. That's proving my point. Now we can say that's BS and all that stuff.
You're also not taking into consideration that we don't pick anymore until the 5th round at that point. So you get your guy. You say it all the time on the draft show. You get your guy. No matter what it takes, you get your guy. So putting that first
to get him.
Mike, but if he wasn't going to be there, the receiver started coming off the board, and he was afraid that he was going to get drafted to somebody, and he went up and got his guy.
I understand that. And they passed on Lamb. Lamb was there at 13. They got their guy. Their guy was Ayuk.
They passed on Lamb because of the position that they valued. They valued the defensive tackle position. They said, hey, let me go up and get the best defensive tackle for the value right now because my guys have another guy, 1B, that's possibly going to be there for me later on in the draft.
That's right. That's what it is. You hit it right on the head. This is what happened. They had their board stacked, right? They had their top 6, like Lynch said. So you had in that group, let's just say Tristan Wirfs, Kinlaw, Lamb, Ayuk, Joe Schmo, and Bob Dylan, whatever. All right. So you knew Kinlaw, the drop-off was huge from Kinlaw to the next defensive tackle because there was no other defensive tackle taken in the first round other than Kinlaw. That's number one. So what do? You address that need at 14. Not even. At 13, they traded back. They picked up a 4th, took the guy that they wanted, and now you still had who went after him. You had Judy, you had Lamb,
that's it.
You had Jefferson, you had Rieger, and then there was Kinlaw. Then there was Ayuk. So they saw that run, and they said, shit, now's the time. Let's take that 4th we got. We jump up to 25. We take him. So now what did they do? They secured their both top needs, and they're still in their top 6 players. So basically what I'm saying is the drop-off was more significant from defensive tackle from Kinlaw than it was for the wide receiver. They knew. I honestly, Mike, I understand he said that they would take him at 13. I'm going to tell you right now that's straight utter bullshit because they would have got roasted.
Okay, I get it.
They
so we're
picking roasted.
Believe now.
Yes.
Okay.
That if they took him at 13 over freaking Judy, they would have got roasted. But they were smart. They played this draft, and this is kudos to them. They played it.
Kyle Shanahan also said that Brandon Ayuk was his favorite evaluation, not player. He said his favorite evaluation on receivers. Watching him play was his favorite evaluation. John Lynch also said it was very close between CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk, 1A, 1B. We already said that. So Lamb could have been in the top 6 too, and so was Brandon Ayuk. CeeDee Lamb was gone, and the receivers were starting to come off the board. So therefore, we take a receiver that we could have got probably at 31, whether we could have or not. We didn't take the chance, and we went and got our other guy that was in the top 6.
So basically, and another thing. We got 2 top players in their respective positions. Mm-hmm. Okay, no, 1 top player. Well, actually, 2 top players. They're two top tier 1 players in their respective positions, and it didn't cost us nothing.
Correct. Because we used the trade pick. We used that 4th round pick, right, to trade up to get.
Oh, I'm sorry. It cost us a 7th. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a 7th.
If they're being honest with us, They got 2 of their top 6.
Yep.
Well, let's get back to Mike's
Yeah.
original question, because this dude just threw the curve of the curveballs. I don't know why he just don't pitch in the major leagues. His statement was that Brandon Ayuk will be starting opposite Deebo Samuel, right? And that's where we originate. And his reasoning is this. I'm just playing voices of reasoning, guys. Like, we all right, we all could be wrong, we all could be right? But here's the thing. You're the value of this number 1 pick, and I get where Tony is coming from. It makes perfect sense. This kid won't know the playbook. Why would you bring guys that don't know the playbook, that haven't proven to learn the playbook, on in full speed? They're gonna go in there and get knocked out, shot, beat up, whatever. When you have a vet that does know the playbook a little bit better than some of the younger guys, right? And this is why we said Kendrick Bourne will start week 1 opposite Deebo Samuel.
Who knows the playbook better, Dante Pettis or Ritchie James?
Dante Pettis. Hands down.
Everybody agree with that?
And none of them start.
No. Yeah. But do you guys agree with that?
I agree.
Nick, you agree?
Yeah.
Who did the team call when they needed some help in Washington?
Both of them. Didn't Dante Pettis catch a dope pass in that game?
No.
Tony knows where I'm going with it. You know where I'm going with it.
You can't come on.
No, yes, I can. Yes, I can, and I'm doing it.
A 2-yard button hook off the line of scrimmage is knowing the offense.
My point is,
Like,
Pettis knew the playbook better. It's not about knowing the playbook.
Yeah, but nobody could get open. There's other guys that knew that playbook.
Listen,
they couldn't get open that game.
My point is this: when Shanahan wants somebody on the field, he will put them on the field. He wants Ayuk on the field.
I'm not going to
evidenced by how he evaluated him.
I will never argue with that.
That's my point. I don't care which one of these wide receivers know the playbook more, okay? Because right now, Travis Benjamin knows the playbook more than Brandon Ayuk. Benjamin ain't starting over Ayuk.
I think Travis Benjamin.
Let me just ask you one thing, and I'm being dead serious right now. What happened if there's an injury at wide receiver? Okay, you're in the game. You're in the 3rd quarter. It's a tight game. All right. Who are you putting in? Let's say, like, God forbid, I don't even want to say it, but let's say, God forbid, Kendrick Bourne goes down. Who are you going to put in off of knowledge of the offense? You're going to put Richie James in, or you're going to put Ayuk in? Now, I'm talking not skill set. Take skill set and throw it out the window. I'm talking about knowing what to do on what play, where to go, and stuff like that.
I'm putting Ayuk in.
See,
and it's not because of skill set. It's just because of I don't want to use the word skill set. Instinct. I'm putting him in off of his football instinct. I think he has an innate feature to him that allows him to just play football correctly. Whereas we
used
watch
the wrong
Richie.
guy. I shouldn't have said Richie James. I should have said somebody else, like Dante Pettis. Dante Pettis.
That's much better, yo.
Yeah, I shouldn't have. I just had Richie James in my head. But Dante Pettis. Are you going to put like Dante Pettis in, or are you going to put Brandon Ayuk in? Just off of knowledge.
And Ayuk is still going to get in there because Ayuk has shown.
If I call this play 2-jet scat right, blah 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 blah, I know Dante Pettis knows what 2-jet blah 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 blah, blah scat right means. You could hit this kid in the huddle with this player. He'll be like, you know what I'm saying? It's a very complex playbook, Mike, and I think you're overlooking that.
No. I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not. All I'm trying to say is when Shanahan likes somebody or needs somebody, he will work them into the offense. And that's what he had to do with Richie James. Nobody was catching the ball. They called it, he said we had to find our mutters. They went through all the different guys on that wide receiving depth chart. Pettis got snaps, but he wasn't a mutter. You get what I'm saying? It was Kendrick Bourne and Richie James. Those were the mutters, and he needed them. He called on those guys. That's all I'm saying. Look, this is an exercise in futility. We will find out the truth. We'll see who's starting. We'll see who's starting. My thought is that number 1 pick that we traded up for is going to be starting day 1, regardless of how he grasps the playbook, because Kyle Shanahan is going to say, hey, we need you out here. This is what we need you to do. It's that simple. We've seen Kendrick Bourne line up in the wrong spot all 3 seasons he's been here. He's still out there, though. He's still out there. What do they do in the huddle? Hey, get your ass over here. Bourne, hey, over here. And then they'll burn a timeout if they have to.
Good point,
he's going to get his guys on the field. That's my point. And I think Ayuk is his guy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. And later on in the season, I'm talking about like damn near playoff game. I watched I watched my guy KB line up wrong, and guess who got him in the right position? Debo Samuel. It was like hell over there. I was like, wait a minute, and he was just smiling. But you know what, right, Mike? You make a great point. Listen, guys. What we're gonna do for the rest of this show, we're gonna get to our top 5 receivers. We're gonna bring you another wide receiver show about the guys that are unproven, like the wide receivers. All right, so we got Trent Taylor. We watched what he can do, but coming back from this injury, will he still be effective? Jalen Hurd, haven't seen him in a regular season game, and then the rookies. Right, we got to talk about the 3 rookie receivers that we have and we acquired in this past draft. All right, so
let's throw them up here. Let's run through them real quick. We'll be quick. I promise. I'll shut up. I promise. All right. I see you, bro.
All right, so let's just talk about the rookies. We just spent a bunch of time on Brandon Ayuk. We know his style. We know his grit. We know his IQ. We know his speed. We know he can line up at the X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, he's going to be pretty fierce in this system, correct?
Hey, can I ask a question? And I don't know the answer to this. This isn't a loaded question. Maybe Tony knows the answer to this. What kind of system did they run in Arizona State? Was it a pro style offense?
It was a mix. It was a mix of a pro style and an RPO offense.
Oh my God! So this kid is ready. He's freaking ready, bro. Let's go.
But it was very heavy with the run game, Mike, because they had a freshman quarterback with a freshman.
They had Enzo, baby.
And a freshman left tackle. So I listened to an interview with who was the coach? Damn, Herman Edwards. And he said that he had to be conservative and due to the freshman quarterback.
And what else did Herm Edwards say about this young man right here?
High IQ. Said he had a high IQ.
Uh-huh.
His game speed is way faster than what he ran in his 40 time.
Yep.
And you just watch it, yo.
Edwards. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Breeze. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish it.
Herm Edwards put his reputation on his talent, making it to the next level on Brandon Ayuk. You can take all the words he said. He came out and openly vouched for this young man. It wasn't a beta thing.
Former NFL coach.
Let's go. That's it. I'm not gonna waste time.
I agree with as far as the former NFL head coach and player, by the way. He will be prepared, what to expect going into the next level. How you have to study your film. How you have to study your playbook. Your commitment. First one in, last one out.
Let's go.
Stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
That is where he's going to be a step ahead of our receivers. But still, the learning curve for this offense it's tough, man.
Okay. I agree.
12 games, 65 receptions, 1,192 yards, 18.3 average, 8 touchdowns. All right, so this guy's a producer, okay? Producer. This guy is going to produce, and I just can't wait to see what he does in this offense. All right, we're just going to touch on the other rookies. This is all I have graphics for. I didn't prepare to do all these guys, so we'll just touch on the last guy that was drafted. All right. We've all seen the other guys in the system, so we won't touch on them. But let's talk about Jajuan Jennings. Now, before you guys talk about this kid, I just want to read his stats. He played in 13 games, okay? 59 receptions, 969 yards, 16.4 average. And guess how many TDs, y'all? 8.
8, yep.
8 TDs, okay? So we're getting producers. We're getting guys to come into this offense, and we talked about it earlier on the show about guys coming in and possibly be replacing someone else. And this kid was drafted in the 7th round. He has a slim to none chance, a little bit better chance than maybe some of the undrafted guys, right? But we know Kyle looks at the later picks, and they usually pan out for Kyle, right? They usually pan out in the system of the 49ers. Talk a little bit about Jajuan Jennings, and then we'll get to our wide receivers, and then we'll be out.
Physical freak. He is a guy who breaks tackles. I think he led he had 30 broken tackles, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. I saw this stat earlier.
30 broken tackles, bro.
Yeah, he's and just to put that in the context, George Kittle had 32 broken tackles last season. This guy is going to be someone that Kyle Shanahan thinks he can do something with. And if you guys want a hot take, I can give it to you, but I'll let Tony speak before I do.
Go ahead. No, go. No.
Oh, you're going to put me on that ledge by myself. Okay, he won't make the team. He will not make the team.
Okay.
Hot take. I'll be happy to be wrong here. That's my hot take, though. He won't make the team.
That's tough, man. It's tough.
Ugh.
It's tough. That's a tough one. But you always go against the grain, and I feel you. But when you got a big body wide receiver that breaks tackle, he's a yak guy. He's another yak guy.
Damn right he is.
Good hands, slow speed, but I mean, you're talking about catching the ball and not going down. We're talking about catching the ball and breaking the tackle. You're talking about catching the ball, securing the ball, hopefully, like if you don't get hit some sideways. And this guy's going to be proven. I get it. It's hard to make this team. I'm not saying we got the best wide receiver core, but again, maybe this guy is something. He has something Kyle likes, and is the reason why he makes the team. I think this is what we thought Jordan Matthews was going to be last season, and he just wasn't. Go ahead.
I don't think he was the Jordan Matthews guy. He might be more of the Jalen Hurd guy. But
I didn't want to say that.
I know. But somebody did say in here, Mike, don't forget it's a 55-man roster now. I did forget. That gives me a little bit more wiggle room, so I might be a little bit hard. I'm still thinking 6 wide receivers for the 53, so I apologize, guys.
Jajuan Jennings. Your take, Nick or Tony?
Good, Nick. I'll go.
First, Sean Shaper, thanks for the donation. I'm not sure what you mean by what's up with our screen. So everybody else is saying things are fine. So I'm not sure what you're seeing there.
Maybe because I had the graphic on and it didn't have the green screen in the background and it was showing the picture of Jajuan Jennings.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But Jajuan Jennings, yards after catch guy, big physical force. What he does with the football in his hands after the catch. I mean, this guy had 30 missed tackles after the first guy. So, yes, he's a 7th rounder, but you go back and you look at Richie James was a 7th rounder and made this team too. And you got guys like Richie James on the borderline of making this team. You got Dante Pettis, which is up in the air. I think this guy makes the team. I mean, I do. And you just said it a minute ago that he is, we're going to 55 guys, and there's a possibility of 7 receivers. So, I mean, there's not much to say about it. I mean, this kid is the same as, what we've just been saying about Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and Dante Pettis, not Kendrick Bourne so much with the yards after catch, but he fits this system, and he's somebody that the Niners liked, and they took that flyer on him in the 7th round. They didn't wait to take him as an undrafted guy, and they had, what they have 5 picks this year, and they wasted a pick and took him. So they value him high, whether it's a 7th round or it's a 1st round. They valued him in their draft scenario, and not waiting to take him like a JaMychal Hasty or a Chris Fink or any of these other guys where they took the chance on him being undrafted. So I think he has a really legitimate shot at making this team, and I'm going to say that he makes it.
All right, so Mike said no. Nick says yes. Tony, you up?
I think he makes it, and I think he makes it for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think this move was to protect the team because they don't know the status of Jalen Hurd as far as his back. Yeah, he could be cleared. Yeah, he could be fine. The minute he takes a shot, the back can flare back up again. That's number one. Number two, did any of you guys know that he was a 4-star recruit quarterback, All-American coming out of high school?
Correct.
Okay. Who did we just lose to the Saints? Emmanuel Sanders. Who threw that pass in the Saints game? Emmanuel Sanders. Another gadget player. Another chess piece by Kyle Shanahan. Another reason, he's adding dogs to this team. No more finesse guys. He's going to get guys that are going to take the ball and run you the hell over with it. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Jennings, add him to the mix. The tight end, who's Warner, he will beat the hell out of you at the line of scrimmage and blocking. He's adding physical presence to this team. Jalen Hurd previously, last season. He's going Kyle is getting tired. He wants to beat the hell out of teams, run it down your throat. He wants to be fast. I understand this guy ran a poor 40, but who's the number one wide receiver in the NFL right now?
That sounded funny.
Who's the number one wide receiver in the NFL?
Hopkins is my guy.
Michael Thomas?
Oh, I like Hopkins more than Thomas, but I get where you're going.
Guy, but go ahead.
Statistically, we'll say. Statistically, I think he was the number one wide receiver. Okay. Newsflash. He ran a 4.68. That's not fast. There's a difference between straight line 40 speed and game speed. And you're going to see the game speed with this guy. Another reason, he gives you value on special teams. This guy could be a gunner because I'm going to tell you right now, he might not run by guys, but he's going to throw them the hell off them and run by them or run over them. So those are reasons why, and he was my guy. I love this guy. I watched him in games last year. I didn't think the Niners would take 2 wide receivers, but damn, when I saw that guy,
I did.
When I saw him pop up as the 7th round pick, and the last pick in the draft for the 49ers, I almost rear-ended somebody because I was like, holy shit, they took my guy. And I'm glad they did, and I think he will be on this team. And another reason, I think they're going to I don't think they're going to make the full move of Jalen Hurd to a move tight end H-back, but I think they're going to put him on the roster when they make their cuts as a tight end, because we know this team likes to keep 4 tight ends. They've done it for the last couple years. So I think that's how they're going to do it. They're going to put Hurd on the roster as a tight end and keep this guy as a wide receiver. It's all about the dog now, boys.
It's all about the dog. I like that, man. Shout out to N9er Drag for the contribution. Thank you so much. Mike, this goes back to your statement when you talked about putting Ayuk on the field. He says, I don't think Minnesota was worried about Randy Moss knowing the playbook. Playmakers like Moss and Ayuk have to be on the field. Thank you for your contribution, man. We appreciate that. What do you think about that, guys? Is he
you already know yet? I agree with it.
Is Brandon Ayuk that playmaker? Is he, like, I'm not comparing him to a Randy Moss, but is he that guy? Oh, I guess we'll just have to stay tuned to find out. Another contribution, Sean. My man Sean says Jennings makes Brock Osweiler look like Mike Vick speed. Hey man, I know he tested slow, guys, but listen, man, if you watch his tape, you watch his film, he just brings a extra element to the wide receiver position. See, I don't think that Kyle Shanahan is. We talked about this on the show. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't think that Kyle Shanahan is looking for a number one. I think he's building the ultimate number one out of pieces. You guys watch Voltron? How many pieces to make that lion? 5? How many? Yeah, 5 pieces, right? So I think he's looking for his 5 pieces, right, to sit there to make that one possible wide receiver work. It's a system, guys. Watch out. It's going to be mother freaking electrifying. I know my energy is weird, but I'm hosting the show. I'm kind of like doing that. I'm not being asked questions, so it's a little awkward and shit.
All right, we can switch it up, bro. I got you. If
I'm
you
good,
want to get out your cage, man.
No, I'm good. I can be tamed.
What jersey you wearing today?
This is Ricky Waters, man. This is Ricky Waters. It's not OJ Simpson.
You can't be tame wearing Waters, bro.
Notre Dame cat, man. Listen, man. Pretty Ricky's what they call me. But listen, man. Let's get to these top 5 wide receivers. All right. So the exercise was that us 4 had to talk about our 5 top 49er wide receivers of all time.
Can I phone a friend for this segment?
Oh shit. Yes,
yeah. I'm just wondering. I mean, if y'all tell me no,
you can phone a friend, but we got some contributions. So while you phoning your friend, so Mike always got to one up somebody, yo. Godly, man. Shout out to Mark. Is there a reason that y'all know of why he fell? Are we talking about Brandon Ayuk, or are we talking about Jajuan Jennings?
That was about Ayuk. And I think it's because because you talk about what he did as far as a 4-star recruit. He's got the intelligence. If you can play that quarterback position, I don't care if it's a high school level. He's got the intelligence, right? But in my opinion, he's a little stiff. He's a stiff guy. Now he's still going to truck you. He's going to run you over. I mean, that 6'3" frame is going to make a lot of corners and safeties hesitate, So that's just what it is. But I think that he is going to be I think the reason he fell, it's the movement, it's the feet, the hips. Those are all the things that they're analyzing, and the consistency. I mean, I know what his numbers say, but he wasn't always consistent in the NFL. So, I mean, not in the NFL, in college. So I think that's what it's going to be. And I just shot a text up whenever you are ready. All right. I can't wait for y'all to see who my phone a friend is today. All right. But yeah, so yes, I think my personal opinion, I don't know what the other guys think, but why do you guys think he fell all the way to the 7th round?
He had some off-field things, and he had a problem with the previous coaching staff with Tennessee, and testing is another thing. I just feel sometimes you just got to throw that away, like just throw those underwear Olympics away, and just look at the tape. If this guy's running people over and carrying people on his back and producing, what did he have? He finished, give me 1 second. 59, 969, and 8 touchdowns. It's not like we're trying to.
This con motherfucker, yo. I'm sorry, Tony. Remind me to smack the shit out of Mike when I see him, yo.
It's not like this guy, we're trying to sell you on a guy with 22 catches for 300 yards and a touchdown. This guy had a big role in this offense. So I think he really fell because the issue he had with the previous coaching staff and the combination of that and his poor timing. Because his tape screams player. He's a player.
Okay. All right. And then before we bring in the guests here, Nick, I want to give it to you. Why do you think he fell? I don't know about these off-field issues. I didn't know anything about them. So this is new information to me, Tony. So I'm not saying that you're wrong at all, but those are things that cause players to fall in the draft. So that's good. That's good stuff right there.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I have no clue as to why he fell. And you guys all pretty much touched on all the situations as to why. So we can just go ahead and move on with the next segment, man.
All right. So we're at that hour and a half mark. We're going to start this top 5 wide receivers of all time that played in the 49ers colors. So this is we'll come up with caveats afterward, but I'm going to introduce my phone a friend guy. He is here, none other than Super Bowl champ Eric Davis.
What?
People,
what is going on?
ED?
Hey, I'm holding on for an old man. Holding on for an old man. That's it. Just got out of the shower. That's it.
Man, you ain't got no gray hair, bro. You look good, man.
I got it. I look good, but I got gray hair.
I love it.
I mean, just saying. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not running from it.
I hear you, brother.
That's it. I put in some miles, man. So yes, I got the gray hair to prove it. It's in there. It's in there.
Bro.
Hey, appreciate you doing this phone a friend segment.
No, all good. All good. Hopefully you'll do it for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know it. Same as anything you need, man. We're here for you guys. So, yeah, Mike, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So what we're doing now, we discussed a lot of the wide receivers, and we're going to get back to it and all, but we wanted to do a top 5 contributors to the 49ers, man. And it's going to be tough because I can only tell you guys what I saw. All right. Now, I'm not trying to say anybody's age or anything like that, but I'm one of the younger guys on the crew, and my top 5 is going to be a little bit different from other people. I would love to know, as someone who played for the 49ers in the Super Bowl era, you were on the team with those dogs, or as you say, damn dudes. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to know who you think are the top 5 receivers for the 49ers.
Top 5, and we're not okay. And all we're talking about is what they did in the colors, right? We're not talking about the culmination of their careers, just what they did in the colors.
That's right. I think Randy Moss is a cheat code, but I wouldn't be surprised if he came up tonight in the conversation. So
there's no way. There's no way he can be top 5 if we're just talking about the 49ers colors.
Correct.
I mean, top 5 receivers. I can get the easy ones out of the way. Jerry, we know JR. T.O.
J.O. and T.R. Listen to how you can tell he played with these. Like,
yes, that's it. So I mean, you know, those two. That's just easy. We don't even have to go into stats and you know, anything like that for those guys. DC, of course.
Okay.
He's in there. I mean, you know, you say okay, but I mean, DC. I mean, most categories he's the number 3 guy. If you look at it, it's going to be Jerry, it's going to be T.O., and then it's going to be DC. So if we're talking about what you did in the colors, I mean, there are very few guys that can compete with what Dwight Clark did as a 49er.
I agree. I think the only reason why I was saying okay is because I just have him as tight end, and if that was the case, that's the only reason why.
Okay. I
See,
get
that 87 fools some people because I'm looking at the receiving category for 49ers all time. Now, Rice is up there by a wide margin with 19,247.
Okay.
T.O. with 8,572. But right there, number 3 is Dwight Clark.
It's Dwight Clark. Yeah. Okay. And for me, I'm going John Taylor.
Boom.
JT, I mean, you know, he was a 3-time Super Bowl champion, I believe. JT, 2-time Pro Bowler. Not to mention, he was just a damn dude. Just bottom line, should have been a DB. We always said that. Just his mindset, should have been a DB. How many guys I named? Because I can keep naming. How many? That's 4.
4.
Okay, my 4th one might throw you off, but we said receivers that I saw, and as far as the number 1 rule of receiving is not being catch challenged and catching the ones that come to you. I'm going with my number 5 is going to be Roger Craig.
Okay.
Wow.
Roger Craig. So if you go 1, 2, 3, the names that are going to come up are going to be, it'll be Jerry Rice, T.O., Dwight Clark, and where Dwight Clark's not there, it's going to be Roger Craig.
Wow.
I mean, nice. As far as receptions, I guarantee you, he's top 5. He's probably number 3. He's probably number 3 in receptions or yards or something like that.
I have to ask the panel: are we going to accept that answer? Because Roger Craig was a fullback running back,
but he was a receiving guy, right?
But he was one hell of a threat.
Hold on. Let me just say this: if you are, this is what I used to say to guys all the time whenever we practice special teams and we would do the hands team. I would always yell at all the receivers, if you ain't on the hands team and you a receiver, you better be worried about your next contract. So I'm just saying, if you a wide receiver, we're talking about the all-time wide receivers, and a fullback running back has more catches than you,
that's a problem.
He's balling out. You got to put him on the list because he's not supposed to be there. Think about it.
I'm not going to argue with that.
100%.
So I mean,
I'm shocked because I didn't expect it, but I'm not going to argue with it.
Roger Craig was the man, bro.
He's well respected.
A lot of people don't realize he had 2 back-to-back 2,000 yard scrimmage yard seasons.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people talk about the one. He had 2 of them back-to-back. This guy is a monster, man. He Hall, man.
If you didn't see it and didn't realize, I mean, Roger was Marshall Faulk before Marshall.
Correct.
He was the Le'Veon Bell before Le'Veon. He was the McCaffrey before McCaffrey. Roger could do all of that. He'd run over you. He'd run around you. He'd run through you. He'd shake you. He changed offenses. He changed that running back position. That's why you see guys doing what they're doing now, because Roger became such a matchup problem. That's why teams have 3 starting corners, and you had to change all of this stuff because that dude was a wide receiver, man.
So let me ask you this one question: how do we advocate that young man to get into the Hall of Fame? Like, what are we not doing?
Man, bro, it's hard. I'm gonna tell you right now that it's as long as you have people alive that vote, that remember the fumble.
Gotcha.
And they're gonna hold that against him, man. They will forever hold that against Roger. I'm still mad at Roger for that. You know, I love catfish, but I mean, come on, man.
I got you.
That was 3 in a row. And we all know stuff happens. And we just talk about the greatness. And I'm just telling you right now, I throw his name in there because of how I feel about him. He wasn't a good player. He was a great player. He was a great player. I was a good player. This dude was a great player. And I don't throw that word around a lot, but that's the thing, man. We all know that Roger Craig has what it takes to be a Hall of Famer. I think and number one criteria to me is always the other guys in the Hall. I think those guys would put him on their team. And but I think that's what it is, man. That fumble, people haven't forgotten it. The voters haven't forgotten it, and they're going to hold that against him as long as they're around. That would have been 3 in a row.
Yep, 3 in a row.
That would have been
it's crazy that that one play. Some people say that one play defined you going in the Hall of Fame, and then this play defined him as not going in as of right now because of those type of things. And it's sad because you're definitely right. He is a great player and deserves that. And it's just that, but it did dash that 3-time, 3-peat, I guess you could say. And it's a shame, but hopefully sooner or later people will start to realize and he gets out and gets in there. So crazy.
Now, I'm waiting. You guys hurry. I want to hear these names. I want to hear the rest. Oh, you
sticking around? Okay.
I want to hear. I got to stick around for a while. I got to hear some of this.
All right.
You were just going to invite me on here, pop on, say what I got to say, and then talk about me when I'm
gone. I'm up front and I'm honest. When I hit you up, I said it's going to be for that, and then
But you don't have to treat me like a play cousin.
Okay.
That's what you're doing. You gonna put me on here, and then I get off and like he didn't even follow the rules throwing Roger Craig in. I know how you act.
Nah, I mean,
come on, man.
I'll go first. I mean, I had pretty much the same as he did. Obviously Jerry, T.O., Dwight Clark. The difference was I put Freddie Solomon on there.
Yeah. I was thinking Freddie. I almost put Freddie, but keep going.
As my fourth, and then John Taylor was in there as well. But there's 2 guys too that this is kind of like the ages as going forward too. For me, I even, it was a hard one. Obviously John Taylor was better than the next 2 that I'm going to name, but what Isaac Bruce did for when he was here, and then it was close. It was a toss up between those 2 in those years, later years, was Isaac Bruce and Brandon Lloyd. Those were like toss ups for me in later years. So I kind of went by years. So I took Solomon over Taylor. Obviously Dwight Clark, T.O., Jerry Rice, and then the later years was a toss-up between Isaac Bruce and Brandon Lloyd. I love both of them in a Niners uniform. So
I get it. Keep going. I get what you're saying. But I thought we said the best, but keep going.
No, for sure.
Yeah, but I was talking about my age of watching. So those are my ages. So.
I know. I understand. Now, remember, I'm older than you. I watched them too, but keep going.
Yeah.
Now, I had a list of wide receivers, but if we get to throw anybody who was a pass catcher in here, it's going to shuffle up my list a little bit because I can only go based off of what I saw. Now, what I saw also means who I had to go back and watch and then who I got to experience. So my top 5 in order are going to be number 1, Jerry Rice. All right, that goes without saying, okay? My number 2 guy above T.O. is going to be John Taylor. I feel like John Taylor – I can't say that he was held back because of Jerry Rice, because you think that if you got that number 1 over there, you should be eating also, right? I think he did his job. I just, what if he was the guy on the team instead of the other guy on the team? And so that's why I have him rated up there. And then number 3 for me is going to be Terrell Owens. Number 4 for me, and again, you guys are going to laugh because I'm young, but whatever, I don't care. Judge me. I got Vernon Davis up there. I love Vernon Davis with the ball in his hands. He was a phenomenal guy to me. You know what I'm saying? So my dog don't like that. I'm sorry.
Since I can't do an emoji on here right now, I'll just.
I'm sorry. Look, and I know it was straight line. I hated watching him catch with his body and all that stuff.
I love Vernon, but Vernon could not turn a corner to save his life. A 90-degree angle would kill him. He'd blow a hip flexor trying to turn.
Straight line.
I said this to him. I said this to his face. You are the most unathletic athlete I've ever seen in my life. He is the most athletic dude. Dude looks like Tarzan.
Can I cut in there because
can't turn the corner?
Can I cut in there real quick because I I rated George Kittle as a better athlete than Vernon Davis, and they gave me shit on the show for that.
I don't know about better athlete. I don't know if I can agree with you on that. Vernon is an incredible athlete. Now, that doesn't mean that he's athletic. Okay?
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
so that's what I'm saying. He's the most unathletic athlete.
We didn't specify that, Nick.
Yes, I did. I said ball in his hand. I said what he with blocking, the way that he gets the ball in his hand, and what he does after the catch, and his ability to be an athlete and athletic on the football field. He's more athletic than Vernon Davis.
And I laughed Nick out the building on that.
I mean,
I'm still taking Vernon Davis over Kittle.
Well, especially when we start talking about blocking and everything. Vernon Davis is definitely a better blocker. But I don't know. Kittle has more wiggle. So I'm with you on that. Kittle definitely has more wiggle. Yeah. But keep going. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. You're good. You're good. My last guy, I was trying to decide between J.J. Stokes because that was like when
Don't decide, Mike. Go with JJ, bro.
We gotta get ED off the show, bro. But listen. There's an explanation.
JJ, I love you, but
no, we don't.
Yes, I do.
There's a reason. There's a reason for this. It's like when I was forced to sit down and watch 49ers. And when I say forced, you guys know how I made my choice to be a 49ers fan. My parents were like, you got to watch them. You can't just say you're a fan and you don't know anybody on the team. I was bought a video game on regular PlayStation, not PlayStation 2, not PlayStation 3. It was regular PlayStation. And JJ Stokes was the guy I fell in love with. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry. I'm telling you guys the truth. And he's up there for me. I can see where he is on this list of all time.
I knew you had to have an excuse.
He's 12. No. But I told you guys that you were going to laugh at me because of my age. I knew that my hits weren't going to be the same hits from everybody else, but I gotta keep it real with you guys. JJ Stokes is one of the guys. He was one of the first jersey I ever wanted. The first jersey I ever wanted was Bryant Young. But JJ Stokes is one of the guys that I really wanted to get the jersey for. So.
Respect. Okay. All right.
That's my 5.
Tony, you want to go next? Or you want to go next?
I'll go. I'm going to go Rice, Owens, Clark, Taylor, and I went with Solomon. But there's two guys like lower end guys that aren't obviously
Don't say my guy.
What?
Go ahead.
So there's two lower guys like were on poor teams and really just played all out. They got the best statistics possible they can get with the quarterback play that they had. I like Josh Morgan. I understand he's not that type of wide receiver to be put in these guys' names, but Josh Morgan and Arnaz Battle were two competitors that I loved, and they were just on poor teams. They weren't number one.
You guys, I can't wait for you guys to tell me this stuff because I can't hear his list, so I can't wait to hear it in a second.
You can't hear Tony?
No, I can't hear Tony, but that's okay. You guys,
Tony, give me the names one by one, and I'll shoot them back to him. So you got Rice, Owens, Clark, Taylor,
Freddie Solomon.
Now his two honorable mentions were
Arnaz Battle and Joshua Morgan.
Battle.
Okay.
And who?
Joshua Morgan.
And Josh Morgan. Josh Morgan.
Josh Morgan. I always thought Josh had an opportunity. I thought he was going to break out. I always did. I thought he was going to break out. Okay. All right.
Yeah, he said he feels like they couldn't really shine as much as they could on a on a poorer team with lacking quarterback play and things like that too, as compared to like Ray. That's what you said, right, Tony?
Yeah, they were on a horrible team with minimal talent.
Okay,
and they just made the best of their opportunities.
And that's how I feel about Vernon Davis early on. I just felt like he couldn't get going as much as he needed to. I don't know.
No, I'm gonna tell you. No, Vernon Davis early on couldn't catch.
Right, and that's
he was catch challenged,
and he was a crybaby.
And he taught
I hated seeing him.
I'm not gonna go crybaby. I'm gonna, but I will never say these guys aren't tough. You have to be inherently fearless to play football. You can't go out there if you're soft. That's so. And dude would take on defensive ends and block them like he was a tackle. So I'm not gonna question his toughness. But like I said, he was catch challenged, which is tough when you're in a receiving position. But but respect because he literally worked at it and taught himself how to catch the football. He worked at it hard, and the only thing he couldn't get out. Remember that jump? I used to tell him all the time, like he'd run down the field all by himself, Vernon would have 20 more touchdowns if he didn't jump up in the air to catch the ball at his knees.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? I just all the time. What are you doing? Like, why? Just keep running. Just keep running. Think about it. How many times? Think. How many times do you guys remember Jerry Rice diving for a ball?
That's a good point.
Think about it. Think about
Never.
overthrows and all. And yeah, think about how many times. If you just go back when you get some time and just think about it. Do you often remember him running through and just catching it and running past people, or laying out, diving, jumping for balls? Jerry would just run. So if he did it that way, that's why you tell all the guys, just trust me, it works.
Yeah.
That dude shows you it works. But okay, all right. I got JJ Stokes, Arnaz Battle, Josh Morgan. Okay, all right.
Now I do want to read this comment here. This is from Bob Merck. He says, "ED is my favorite in all caps. Favorite follow on Twitter of all the Niners. Total respect, Eric. Thanks for coming on. You were all heart when you played. Thanks for the glory years, bro." That's from Bob Merck there.
Much appreciated. Like I said, I do it for you guys. I figured you guys would have done it for me, man.
Facts.
That's it. That's so that was it. That's all. That's what we did. That's why we played. We played for each other. We loved playing for the crowd. That's why I was so happy that this year happened, so guys can start getting that feel in Levi Stadium, so the Field of Jeans can start creating some memories. Because, man, it wasn't nothing like making Candlestick Rock, man.
Yeah,
nothing like the love you'd feel on that. So that's why I'm glad these guys get an opportunity to do that. So, Bob, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Breezy.
All right,
no pressure,
man.
bro.
All right, Ed, I'm gonna say this, get this out of my system. You'll become my favorite follower as soon as you follow me back. I promise. Now, with me saying that, I'm just messing with you, bro. All right,
hold up. Nah, if you his first follow, bro, it's a problem. He don't follow literally anybody on Twitter. If you his first follow, it's a problem. It's a problem. If it's my phone friend, if he follow you, it's a problem, bro. I think the whole show down.
I think nothing but Niners should be his first follow.
Okay, just make sure 49ers Breezy is in that. No, I was just messing with you guys. Now here, I got the same for you. Ed has, right, but my fifth guy, and when we acquired this guy free agency, like I got super excited because he whipped our ass in that Super Bowl. So when we got Anquan Bolden, listen, that was probably the first. I mean, I know we saw a dog from Rice and Taylor and some of the older guys, but the new dog of what wide receivers are supposed to be, the dog we looking for right now to keep this team trending and going and further, it was Anquan Bolden, bro. You want to talk about tough catches? This is not the big wide receiver, the tallest wide receiver. Like, this guy had hands, and he made tough catches. Some he had to dive for. He wasn't your deep guy, you go for routes, but it's something about Anquan Bolden that I loved, and what he did for the community just sold it to me, man. He was all in when he was a 49er, bro.
Now that one, I'm jumping in. I love that one. Now if that's why I asked, and when I got the call, I said, "Do you mean just in the colors, or are we talking about the career?" Because there's no way Q would not have been on my list. Q's a grown man. He's full grown man. I love Q. He is the reason. I said that to him before the Super Bowl. I walked at that Super Bowl on the field before the game. I walked over to Q and told him, how much I respected his game and everything, and I was real upset that he had to play that day because I just know he's a problem.
Yeah,
we laughed about it before, and he turned into a problem during the game.
When I had the wide receivers only list, he was my number 5 guy too, Breezy. So just so you know.
All right, cool.
So I'm with you on that, big dog. I feel you on that one.
Yeah, but we talked about what they did in the 49ers colors.
He had 1,000-yard season, close to 1,000 the last 2 seasons. 2,000-yard seasons, one in 2013, one in 2014, right? 7 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns. And in his last season with the Niners, I think he had almost 1,000 yards. He had 780. And I think he got hurt that season.
1,000 yards. You guys do realize 1,000 yards is not what 1,000 yards used to be, right?
I hear you.
They play 16 games.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we throw
1,000
1,000 yards out there, I mean, I don't want to sound like Scrooge or Eeyore or whoever you want to throw out there. Slap rock. I'm not trying to rain on the parade, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, you start saying almost 1,000 yards. We're in 16 games.
I hear you, brother.
So I mean, you're average. So I'm supposed, like I said, Q's career, no question. You talked about the colors. That's different.
Yeah,
that's different.
All right.
I got one question though, Ed, for you. So
yeah.
Out of the guys that you've covered, who was your hardest cover as a Niner?
Well, it's just the toughest guy ever for me was, and a lot of it has to do with the stage of your career.
Because I was going to say practice don't count.
I was a pup. Well, see, Jerry got to a point to where Jerry wasn't difficult for me because I knew everything about Jerry. Mm-hmm. I went against Jerry all day, every day, like literally all day, every day. So I knew what Jerry was going to do, how he did it, his moves, everything. I mean,
the licking the fingers,
the licking the fingers. Yeah, the head nods when he was getting ready to break. I knew all the things that Jerry was going to do because studying Jerry. I mean, it's an education in the wide receiver position, period. So it was like working with this guy, and whenever you got him, he was going to come and change. He was going to talk to you. Ed, how did you know I was going to do this? Like, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And that's how we would go back and forth. If he did something that worked me, like, okay, like, what did you see? How did you do it? So that's the way we would work. But I say it depends on the stage. Sterling Sharp. When I was young, Sterling Sharp to me was the absolute most difficult. He was the second best at everything. He wasn't the best route runner. That's Jerry, but I put him number 2. He didn't have the best hands. That was Chris Carter. I put Sterling number 2. When you talk about run after the catch, I've got to put him there. I mean, everything you look at, getting off the jam, Michael Irvin was the best at that. Sterling was number 2. Right? He's that good. This to me, he's a Hall of Famer. No way. If not for the injury, there's no way he was that way. But again, I was a young player. I hadn't developed and learned how to play football yet. So I don't know how it would have been. Him being that guy when I was in year 5, 6, 7. I don't know how it would have been. But that's to answer your question. That was the toughest one for me at that time, doing that. And then and practice JT on the Niners team. JT was tougher to me than Jerry because he was stronger, he was faster, he was quicker. So it was more difficult to deal with JT than it was with JR. And World didn't get off the jam. That was one thing and it was funny. People never really would press him. But he wasn't really great at getting off the line. World was. I mean, he was. I used to mess with him all the time. Like I used to tell him all the time, you better be glad I was on your team because you wouldn't have all them damn records. We had to have something to laugh about it. Out there just
That's
talking,
awesome.
Going back and forth, and we would literally do this in the game. Even when I went to Carolina, we would literally talk like this. During the game, we would start pre-game talking to one another. How's the kids? How's the family? What's going on? We would line up. We'd play, beat each other up. After the play, pick each other. You good, man? Yeah, I'm good. And we would keep talking. We would literally hold conversations that entire time I was playing against them, just like it was at practice. So it was fun doing all of that. But all right, now I got everybody's list. I'm going to go and eat.
That's good, up, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no, all good, man. All good. That's it for questions. Q&A. That's it. That's all you need from me.
I'm good. Mike,
we good? I'm about to hit you with the deuces.
No, I'm not good. Wait. Hold on. I'm gonna let you go get some grub, right? If there was one person you would follow on Twitter, and I'm not looking for any of us, I promise. If there was one person you would follow, you don't want to miss anything that they post, who would it be? On Twitter.
On Twitter.
Yep. Where you follow nobody. That's the only reason I'm asking you. I always look at the accounts with 0 followers, and I'm like, who would they? Like Jay-Z followed one person for like a week or two, and then he unfollowed them. If there was one person whose tweets you just You feel like, listen, man, I know you get on Twitter. You probably go and look at somebody's tweets, right? You pull up something, right? So who was that one person that if you could follow them? Let me put this up on the screen too. You guys check out Eric Davis and Rashawn Haylock's podcast, Believe in 49ers on the Believe in Network. Make sure you guys give them a follow.
Yeah, do that. I appreciate that. You know what? Next time I'll let you know. So I'm gonna have to think about it next time. Because it would probably be one of you guys, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings because you guys got to talk when I'm gone, and I don't want to toss a grenade in the room and then everybody's all upset at me. So just let me think about it and get back to you.
All right. And then this is a paid comment here from Theodore Wells. He says, off subject, but what does ED think about Akello? You don't have to go into depth or anything like that, but Akello Witherspoon, what are your thoughts on him? He is a big subject of contention on this show and amongst the 49er fan base. You can give it to me in 12 seconds if you can.
Everything that you need to be good at the cornerback position, he was born with. So he's not void of talent. He's just got to get out of his own head. He's trying to be good. And what he's going to realize is that playing that position, pro sports in general, definitely playing corner is not about being good. It's about being consistent. And that's what happened. He was working. He was consistently working, getting better each and every day through OTAs, through training camp. He got preseason in. He went into the game, and he was out there, and he was balling out. And at the time he got hurt, he was probably the most consistent DB that they had playing at that time when he went down. Then he got hurt, and what he learned, and I think it's going to help him. I'm actually an Akello fan. I think what he is going to see once he got hurt, the game doesn't slow down. You don't get to come back in and work yourself up to speed. It's not like a lot of other sports. You don't get to come in and just take a few minutes like if you were injured in basketball, and we're going to give you 12 minutes. Then we're going to work you up to to 17 minutes. Then we'll give you 24 minutes. It doesn't work that way in football. You're a corner. You can't even tap out. Wide receiver can say, I'm tired, and come out. Running back can say, I'm tired. Tight end, throw their hands up. You're a DB. You can't come out. So when you get back out there, you got to be ready to go full speed. And that's what happened. The game didn't slow down. And when you get injured, you have to learn how to mentally have yourself up to speed. I think he's going to learn that because, remember, he's a young player. He's a very young player, and he hasn't been on the field. So you can learn from the sideline, but you don't get better until you play. So he's got to go through these things so that he believes that I can get this done and stop questioning whether or not he can make it. It's all in his head. Because remember, the last play, you think about the game and the play against Minnesota that got him off the field. That Diggs route. He was there. He was in position. It's not like the guy blew past him. He fell down. He ran past him. He shook him. He did anything. He's running with Diggs, one of the fastest guys in this league. He diagnosed what was happening. He's running with him step for step, and then he panicked. Why? Because he's worried about what if I don't make this play, as opposed to just reacting and knocking it down and doing it because that's what you do. And he's got to get back to that dude that we saw week 1 and 2 that was just out there saying, this is what I do. And I think he can. Did I answer your question, man?
Mic drop. Beautiful.
Can I go eat now?
Yes, sir. You enjoy your dinner, man. And sorry to disturb you, man. Tell the family I said hello.
You know what? You know what? Can I say something? Now I got one more thing to say. Have you ever noticed how people always say, I'm sorry for doing something when they know they're not sorry?
I am.
I don't even know why you go sit here and lie to all of us.
No, bro, because I just look. You said you wanted to stick around and hear everybody else's opinion. I was gonna have you in and out.
Okay, but you're sitting there. I tried to go. You asked me another question, and then he's like, "I'm sorry for this." Like, why are you lying? Why are you lying? Just say bye. Just say bye.
That's what cousins do, man.
I told you he's treating me like a play cousin, right? All right. Deuces.
See you,
All right,
EJ. Thanks for coming.
That's my guy.
Good talk, man. Good talk.
Eric Davis. You guys make sure you go give him a follow also on his Instagram account. He does live videos and he responds to the comments. He only has like 400 something follows on Instagram. It is a crime. So you guys _bump the letter in run, bump and run. _first though. Make sure you guys, if you're on IG, you guys go and give him a follow, man. He is a great guy. He answers almost all questions. If he sees them in the chat, he will do it. But the one thing he does when he's talking, he looks around. So if the comments are rolling up on the screen, he might miss them, but he will try to answer, and he does answer everything that he sees. You guys make sure you give him a follow. Bump in run. All right. And then you guys make sure you go check him out over there on the Believe in 49ers podcast. It's down there at the bottom of your screen. Go subscribe to that, guys. It is a very, very good show, even though he was bombing on me. How my guests start bombing on me? Like what?
I gotta find a good play cousin over here, man, because I gotta get my phone of friends up.
Let's go, man. I'm enjoying this, man. I'm enjoying it. See,
that's just funny. George said you just got decleated by Eric Davis.
Like,
that's
come
cool.
on, man. Like my guest got me in trouble. Like, how does that happen? I'm the only guy that this could happen to. I promise. I'm the only one that would.
That was funny, bro.
Yeah,
that made my night, yo.
But did y'all hear what he said about Spoon? He's got everything. It's right there. You just got to get it here. That's
all
it.
Said that he was in his own head, Mike. I think
it's
that was
mental and confidence.
Yeah, man.
Mike, I saw you though when he started talking about he was right there with him, and then he was talking about how Diggs, like it was Diggs, and you're like,
no, because I can't. I'm not allowed to say what I know. I'm not allowed to say what I know, man. I talk to you guys off camera about it.
Yeah,
y'all know the truth behind that play. You guys know the truth behind that play. I'm not allowed to say it on camera, but I'm telling you, man, Spoon is coming back with a vengeance. I promise you guys that, man. I promise you guys that.
Look,
So,
nobody said that though. Nobody said that.
No. I know. I'm not saying that y'all did. I'm just saying that he's coming back with a vengeance, and all the people that hated him are going to be buying his jerseys by the end of the season. And hopefully, it's not too little, too late.
Yeah, you know those five. All of our fives were like all over the place. It was pretty crazy.
It's because ED, man, he introduced the non-wide receivers. I think if we had the top 5 receivers, a lot of us would have.
Well, that's what I like kind of stayed with. And like I said, I kind of tried to do mine through the years. You know, when I was younger to as I got older, and I just don't have anybody that fits in that that fifth spot yet, right? And like I said, I mean, John Taylor was one of the guys that I watched. He could easily go in there.
But see, like John Taylor was a byproduct of me being forced to go back and watch Jerry Rice film, right? And it's not that. Look, I was born in '83. You know, the glory days were right then and there. You know what I'm saying? But like, when I became a Niners fan, it was like go back and learn something about your team. So if someone questions you, you have something that you can talk on. You can base your conversation on something. This is what my pops was instilling in me. Like, don't just sit here and just say, "Oh, I'm a 49ers fan," and then only name the quarterback because that's who you know. You know, my pops was like, you got to go back and watch some guys. Don't go all the way back, you know, but be recent. You know, you're born, you know, you at the time I was like 9, you know, like we're not expecting you to know everybody, but know people from your era and then work your way forward. You know what I'm saying? And that's why JJ Stokes would have, you know, that was my guy. You know, Arnez Battle was another one in the video game that I played with. I loved him. Fred Beasley was one of my top fullback because he was a fullback during that time when I got the video game, and I was like, yeah, like that's my
So, Mike,
spot.
wait. So your first gaming system was PlayStation?
No,
PlayStation?
my first gaming system that I owned was PlayStation, but because my family was split, my pops had the video games. He had Sega, he had Nintendo and all that. Mom was like, no, you stay in the books. When I lived with my mom, you know what I'm saying? So the first game system I was able to get was the one I was able to buy. I was cutting grass and everything so I could earn my money for my PlayStation. Then I got the PlayStation 1. A lot of people don't even know what the PlayStation 1 is.
They were like huge too.
The first PlayStation was huge, but the PlayStation 1.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about the first PlayStation.
Oh, yeah. I had that one, and then I went and got the PlayStation 1 that had the little screen. I thought it was the portable joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought I was flexing. Like, let's go, you know? But that just shows, you know, how young I am. That was my first system that I owned was a PlayStation. But Pops had the Nintendo. I mean, my mom had an Atari, but that wasn't anything that I wanted to play with. You know what I'm saying? And then because I saw what Pops had, you know, it was Sega, It was Super Nintendo or whatever it was. It was the Sega Saturn came out and all that stuff. Like it was all that stuff. One system I was never interested in was Jaguar. I don't even know if people remember that system.
That was Atari, man. So I didn't get into the Jaguar either, yo.
Yeah, man. The control had like 12 buttons on it and shit. I'm like, what?
We should do favorite systems. We should do a favorite.
I was just gonna say that's another top 5 right there.
You had TurboGrafx 16. You had the Sega Genesis. You had the Saturn, the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast, right? Yeah, man.
So Sega had Sega and then Sega Master 2. So that was their second system. I know all about video games, bro.
Let's go.
But the dopest RPG game of all time, role-playing game of all time, was Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 1, yo. Final Fantasy VII, yo.
Talk about it. Man.
I wasn't a big Final Fantasy guy. I was more of a Zelda guy.
Zelda was dope. I can't front. But Final Fantasy VII, because of the way the graphics was on that PlayStation, like it just hit different, man. I remember all the characters. I remember having to fight Sephiroth, all them cats, yo.
The worst graphics ever, but the most fun to play was Tecmo Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Tecmo Bowl was great.
But if you're going to go Nintendo, Excite Bike.
Oh, Excite Bike, Paperboy.
Punch Out.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Greatest. That has to be one of the top.
Do you remember Glove?
Of course I remember that, yo.
Yo, hold on, wait.
I had the Power Glove, yo. I still got the Power Pad somewhere in his basement, too, because I had track and field. Yo, the only Nintendo I didn't have was the joint that came out in 86 with Rob the Robot. That was the only one I didn't have.
I don't even know what he's talking
about. You don't remember the robot, Rob?
And he used to... And by the way, I saw a comment in here that says Tekken. If anybody wants smoke in Tekken, come holler at your boy.
I got Tekken 3 right now, bro. You don't want this.
I got Tekken on PlayStation right now. If anybody wants that work, come and holler at your boy. I'm taking names, bro. Y'all can't see me. My character is Law. I'll tell you what you're getting right now.
Which game was better, real quick? All right,
first you said track and field. Do you remember that was the first time you had to hop over
the hurdles? Yeah,
without something watching you on TV, bro. You had to hit the pad and jump.
You had to jump up, and you had to land on the blue or the red spot.
Land on that little spot.
Hold up. There it is. Hold on. Where did Callie Young's comment go? Fan.
Oh, hold on.
Up, down, left, right, B-A, start. Like, come on, bro.
Let's go.
And ain't no one and their mother beat that game without that code, bro.
Exactly, bro. Oh my God, we gonna get in some trouble.
All right, real quick, fighting games. Go back to Chrissy's comment because we didn't read it, but you find it. Fighting games. All right, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, or Virtual
Tekken's
Fighter.
Been my favorite for a long time, but I think the first one that I fell in love with was probably what was the one with the dinosaurs and shit? The dinosaur, the gorilla.
Killer Beast? I mean, Killer Instinct? That was my shit.
Killer Instinct.
That was my joint because of the combo.
Yep.
That was my joint.
That was probably my favorite at the time because it wasn't, people. It was animals and stuff. So,
Yeah. I remember Primal Rage. All right, man. What a great show, guys. What a great show, man.
Yeah, we crossed the 2-hour mark. We can't turn it into
a podcast. How old are you guys?
I'm 38. I mean, I'm 39. Shit, I forgot my age.
I'm 39 also.
I'm 40.
I'm 36.
Mike's the baby.
I told you I was the youngest one on the show, man. I wasn't playing. And here's the thing, man. Like, it's not just that I'm young. And I live with my mom. Like, they were religious people. It was books and Bible. That is it. I had 6 nights a week where I was involved in church, whether it was Bible study, prayer and Terry service, choir rehearsal, club meeting. Like, it was all that. I had no kind of technological stuff, like nothing. My mom was the one that if we had to do a report on the internet, you better go to the library or go to a friend's house. Like, they had nothing to do with technology, bro. I was like struggling when I was younger, man. It was rough, man. It was rough.
I tried to go against the grain with my mom. She was like that too. And one time I just said, I'm not gonna go to church. I'm just not gonna go to church. Yo.
I couldn't have said that and kept my teeth.
Yo, I think you see this gap in my teeth? He split that shit so wide, bro. Yo, with my record breaker track. And I know y'all don't know about record breakers, yo. I used to get beat with man. That's another show.
Yeah, no,
it wasn't abuse. It was just
that's why we're not gonna do that. They're gonna be thinking they're gonna be calling the cops on our parents, bro. I don't want to do that. It was because it was all for a good reason. You know what I'm saying? The only reason, if there was ever a time I couldn't go to church, was because I had to work that day. Once I started working, I had 2 jobs immediately straight out the gate. 2 real jobs, and that was it. Like, it was school, work. That was it. So the only way you get out of church, You better be going to work. Otherwise, you in my house, my rules. Let's go. Mom didn't play that at all. So, but that's it, man. Guys, let's do a recap. Do you guys want to go back and just give your top 5 receivers? I know Nick stuck with the formula there, but I mixed some people in. Do you guys want to go back and give the top 5 receivers one more time? I think Tony stuck with the top 5 receivers also, right?
Yeah.
You were the only one that changed it up.
I was the only one that changed it?
Yeah.
Listen, before you go forward with this, he makes a very valid point. Edie made a very valid point putting Roger Craig in there. Because back then, the staples of the true West Coast offense under Bill Walsh, your running back acted as your slot wide receiver. He would line up in the backfield, motion out, and then that would be your third wide receiver. So I understand he ran the ball, he ran out of the eye, he ran out of the split back, he ran out of an offset. So Bill Walsh's theory was we don't need a run game because we're going to use the short passes out of the backfield to the running backs as a run game. So I understand why he threw him into the mix. I really do. But, I mean.
And you see guys like Sean Payton take it to the next level. That's where it all derived from right there. Like, man, look, yeah. I get it. I understand it. I swear to God.
That was me. Like if you look from Bill Walsh all the way up until that 94 Super Bowl team, the 49ers never had like a true dominant downhill running back or running attack. Mm-hmm. Their running backs always finished with probably anywhere between 800 and 600 yards rushing. There was multiple running backs. There was like a rotation. But the majority of the time they were used as wide receivers on like scat routes, wheel routes, Texas routes, stuff like that to get you those yards that you would get with a running game.
Roger Craig was one of the only dogs back there during that time with a 1,000-yard running game.
And like, I'll give you a perfect example. Wayne, the jersey you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Waters in Super Bowl in 1994. He motioned out of the backfield, line up in the slot. He ran a deep post and smoked the safety, Rodney Harrison.
Yep. I hate that. Never mind. That
was the principles of that offense. The running back was your third receiver because not 94, but in like the Tom Rathman, Roger Craig, Joe Montana era, you rarely saw a third wide receiver. Rarely. It was always split backs, wide receiver right, wide receiver left, tight end. That's it. And that's really how they innovated. The third wide receiver was off of the West Coast offense, motioning the back out of the backfield.
Yep.
Then that forced defenses going from your base to going into a nickel. Mm-hmm. Because now a linebacker, especially back then, couldn't cover the running back out of the backfield.
Wow. That's dope, man. That's deep.
Yep.
So it's amazing how the offense like progressed over the seasons, like from like the 80s all the way till now.
Did Rodney Harrison not in the Hall of Fame, right?
No, I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
He should never make it into the Hall of Fame for letting David Tyree catch that ball on his head. All right, keep moving. You can't allow that as a DB, yo. You just can't. You just can't. We should have asked ED about that. Like
that was some angels in the outfield type stuff, man. Like,
bro, you can't allow that, bro. You ripped the arm.
He didn't, bro. That was crazy.
Dude, he had the hand right there, yo.
You can't fight fate. That was not him. He was perfect on that play, bro. That wasn't him.
I just got one question for you guys, and I don't want you guys to look anything up off the top of your heads. If I asked you right now in that Super Bowl, who was the 49ers' third wide receiver? Would you be?
Wait, which Super Bowl?
94 with John Taylor, Jerry Rice. Do any of you know who the third wide receiver was?
Ricky Waters.
No. I mean, legit, like wide receiver.
Oh, somebody said Nate Singleton.
That's who it was.
Yep.
And none of you knew it because they used the running back as the third. Even, bro, there were times where Floyd went out in motion on a pass pattern.
Right. And I was never going to guess that. I would have never got it. And there's no shame in my game at all. I'm not afraid of being wrong. Nope. Wouldn't have got it.
McCaffrey, I see someone put McCaffrey. McCaffrey was the fourth. Singleton was the third.
Yeah, he's the slot guy, I think. Well, all right, man.
That's
Is that it for the show? You guys done? You want to wrap it up or are we still going? What's up, man? Like, how y'all feeling?
I'm Gucci, yo.
I need some food.
Oh, him and ED having dinner together. Look at that. Look at that. That's
That was
nice,
a good
man.
call, Mike.
I'm gonna be his first follow.
And by the way, this is one that I kept from the crew. I was trying to get this, man. Let's go. Breezy ate us up on that other one. I was like, all right, I got to try to top my man now, and I'm still working. This is gonna be fun.
All right.
I like this segment, man. I really do, man. The phone a friend thing is gonna be great. Guys, that's gonna be it for us tonight, man. Thank you all for checking us out here. If you guys didn't hit that like button, do us a favor and hit that like button right now. There's no reason why you guys can't hit that like button, man. We work hard to bring you guys some quality content there. Hit that like button. You should already be subscribed, man. We did not talk about Don Shula. Rest in peace to one of the greatest coaches the NFL has ever
Definitely.
seen.
He was the most winning coach in the NFL.
Facts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if y'all want to do a moment of silence or what, but how we spinning this right here? How do y'all want to handle that? We want to do a 30-second? Nah, that's a long time. Y'all want to do a 10-second moment of silence, or we just gonna keep it going with the rest in peace? I mean, y'all let me know what y'all thinking, and we're gonna do that 10-second moment of silence.
We could do that.
All right. Well, here we go. Moment of silence for the greatest. Well, I won't say the greatest, but one of the greatest coaches in Don Shula. All right. So that's it, man. We're going to wrap this thing up here, man. We appreciate you guys for checking us out, man. Much respect to everybody who tuned in. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys have your notifications turned on. We will be back later this week. I promise you guys that we will be back this week. We're going to have more people on. We're going to bring you guys some more quality content. You're not going to miss anything, man. Make sure those notifications turn on, because there might be breaking news and you're not going to catch it because we can't give you guys the hour plus heads up. All right. So make sure you guys are locked in. You're subscribed. You check out all of our different platforms that we're on. Get at us, guys. And more importantly, I want you guys to let us know the conversations you want us to have on this show. You obviously know the passion that we bring with it. We argue about stuff that has nothing to do with the 49ers. You guys know that already. So if there's questions you want us to answer, make sure you shoot us an email, nb9ers@nothingbutniners.com. Okay, one more time, that is nb9ers@nothingbutniners.com. We will do our best to work those into the show. We want to thank you guys for checking us out here, man. That's going to do it for us here tonight. On behalf of myself, 49ers Mike _NFL, my man down there, Nick, 49er Faithful 365, my man over there, Tony, NJ Niner Fan 499, and my big dog right here, Breezy, 49er Breezy with the IE on Twitter. All right, make sure you guys give us follows at Nothing But 9ERS on Twitter is the main account there. You guys can get us over there. We try to communicate with every single one of you guys, all right? And what we pride ourselves on, being one of the most interactive groups on Twitter, okay? So make sure you guys give us follows over there, and that's going to do it for us tonight. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful.
We out of here.
Peace.